The first ruler of the Belvitz Empire was Alexander the Great. To this day, he is considered a blessing for the state because he is able to hear heavenly bodies, sun, moon, and stars. The shining sun that never sets is Sol. A man with red hair and dressed in a light suit appeared. He personifies this star, the great night of the moon protecting the light, Luna. A girl appeared with white hair and dressed in a light purple dress. They are everywhere and watch each of us. The star is Stella. Their mystical abilities and incredible appearance were symbols of the empire that raised the status of the ruling family. But a huge 5-story palace, decorated with many columns. On the veranda in the center, a little girl was kneeling, and above her was a man who looked like a priest, asking her to pray more diligently. Before them stood the royal family. The little girl mentally prayed to the majestic star and held her folded hands in a castle in front of her. The priest approached her and asked if she could hear the voice of the star. The child was even more frightened by such tension on the part of others. Malishka anxiously answered the man that not yet. The blonde man from the royal family was immediately indignant and shouted that she had failed again, and it was time to give up, and the rest of the family just yawned at such a sight. The blonde lord pointed his hand at one of the knights, ordering him to draw his blades. The priest was frightened and begged to wait, but no one heard his plea, and he immediately fell to the ground, but could no longer survive. The family turned around and headed for the estate, only saying that it was time to end it. The knight grabbed the girl by the shoulder to drag him with him. Unlike other members of the imperial family, only she does not possess similar power. Malishka found herself sleeping in her room, but sounds from the palace made her wake up. She looked out the door and saw something terrible. Many knights bared their blades, and a red mess began. Everyone shouted that they should all be sent to heaven. One of the knights shouted Tyrant Idolante, the devil who shed rivers of blood, in response to the devotion of his subjects. Another warrior shouted, "Everyone grab your swords. The emperor must be here somewhere." The girl was petrified with horror and thought to herself, this is what her father feared, rebellion. Suddenly she heard her mother's voice. Looking even more, she saw her relatives running away. The little girl was very scared and asked them where they were going. Her mother replied that they needed help. She needs to try to stop everyone so that they are not pursued, and they are already leaving. The girl was very scared. The blonde man finally added that at least one day she would be useful. The family left. The little girl shouted after them, but in vain because there was no stopping them. Father closed the door and said that it would be a noble sacrifice. The baby only continued to shout at him. The door closed so easily, as if her relatives had not left the little one to be torn apart. Immediately, knights rushed to the room, saying that this was the last room that they had not checked yet. "Those damned underpants are already gone." One of them shouted. They put a sword to the girl. She begged to be saved, but they took her for a maid and went on to look for the emperor and left the child alone. Many years later, the little one has already grown up and woke up in a currently unknown room. Someone addressed her as Ethel and asked if she was awake, yet to which she confidently replied that she was a girl who was of royal blood, who was mistaken for a maid, miraculously survived. Her real name is Stella Idolante. The woman was going to leave the room in a good way because someone kept calling her. From now on, she is no longer Stella. Ethel replied that she was on her way. A haven for adventurers. A 4-story building, which from the outside was no different from the others. On the first floor, there were many tables where guests were sitting with food. Ethel descended the stairs, where a little girl in a green dress and red hair was waiting for her, who called the woman her sister. She had a twisted letter in her hands. They hugged sweetly, and both had sincere smiles on their faces. Her little sister was called Daisy. The little girl's eyes were burning with joy and curiosity. She handed the letter to the woman and asked to look at it. It had a picture of the second princess from the imperial family, and it said she was wanted now. Special news on Hampshire Street. Ethel was surprised by what she saw. It seems that the parents of the princess really loved their daughter because the emperor and empress are looking for her. Daisy talked about it and continued. This time they even attached her photo, and before they were afraid to show her beauty, her parents were worried that she would be stolen and hid her in the palace and did not tell anyone about it. Wormwood's terrible memories of Ethel. They hid it because it was very precious. Unfortunately, the harsh reality was quite different. The father shouted at her and ordered that if anyone asked, the girl was just a decoy to secure the real younger sister. Mom also closed that Stella is just fake and the second princess is hiding somewhere else. Father, mother even. If I'm ugly, I want to be your daughter too. Little Stella thought about it. Enough to think about it. She will not reveal her identity through someone's words. Ethel bent down to pat her sister on the head and said that their Daisy seemed to be very worried about the second princess. Little agreed, because everyone in the empire wants to know as much as possible about her. People from the hall suddenly spoke to them. Of course, everyone in the state is interested, because if they find it, life will change radically. Title land and gold. So where do we start our search? Not very sober men with wooden mugs in their hands spoke. Someone said that she might have died a long time ago, to which Daisy strongly and loudly objected. The princess is definitely alive, cried the little girl. The man asked, back then, why didn't she declare herself? Let her return to the palace because she is a princess. The sister objected because everyone is looking for her. Suddenly, Ethel joined in and approached the men taking the mugs from their hands. She said that their guests were already drunk and it was time to get over it. They only got angry and said her name. Instead, she offered them free soup, let them sober up before leaving. The men were delighted and called her their Ethel. The sister agreed with her action and showed a gesture by folding her hands into fists and raising her thumb to the top. The nice lady asked Ethel to take the order to the third table. The girl agreed and gave the newspaper to her sister, saying that she had already finished reading it. Ethel headed for that table, but was immediately horrified because there sat none other than an imperial knight. He had brown hair, bright red eyes, and a gray uniform with an empire emblem. The girl was not confused and asked what Mr. would order. Does he suspect that she is the second princess? She thought. He was silent, and she asked him again. He replied that there would be a dish of the day and pointed to it with his finger on the menu. The girl said that it was mushroom soup and baked turkey, and that she should bring him both. However, Ethel was clearly nervous and tried to calm herself so that she would not be suspected. The gentleman also asked to advise him on a suitable wine for these dishes. Ethel suggested Night Dew and also said that if he was concerned about the price, Snow White Holiday would be another good choice, as it would go well with the turkey stock. The knight chose wine for himself, and the girl thanked him and said that she would bring it now. The gentleman looked after the waitress with a careful look. The staff break has begun. The girl and another worker were tidying up the kitchen. Before the woman turned to Ethel, she asked if she knew about the knight who fell in love with her. Ethel was surprised by this and asked how it was. The elderly woman replied that it was enough for him to see her once, so that every time she was busy or turned her gaze to something else, or even when she accepted an order from him and left, the gentleman did not take his eyes off her. He continued to watch her. The girl asked if there was anything else besides the looks, to which the woman replied that no, only them, and added that he would definitely come back. Suddenly, an elderly gentleman entered the room with a mountain of dishes in his hands and said that he thought so too, and that he had just left to pick up some things and they were already there. What? There is nothing between us, Ethel denied. The woman hugged her shoulders and said that time flies too fast. The girl melted at this and cutely called her aunt. The girl plunged into memories. On the same day of the uprising, little Stella was sitting on the pavement with her knees pressed to her until suddenly the same man and woman approached her. She extended her hand. They all ended up at home. They brought her hot soup and asked the child if she had somewhere to go, and she said no. They just smiled sweetly at her and offered to live with them. The little girl burst into tears because of this, and the good people hugged her. Now she believes that this is her family and a real home that she does not want to lose. That night was riding in a carriage and talking to another gentleman. He said that he was not sure because they looked alike, Another replied that the resemblance is only in the blonde hair and brown eyes. It's a very common appearance, and there's also a lot of fake information going around these days. The second man addressed him as Your Grace and asked, does he still believe that Princess Stella is alive? After all, almost 10 years have passed. At first, everyone thought that this was another attempt to assassinate the imperial family, but it turned out not to be the case. Even after the uprising, signs of new disasters did not cease to appear. People hoped that the star-blessed princess was still alive. The royal family was furious because all the stars above the palace had disappeared. The people were confused. Is she already dead? No one knew. But most preferred the latter. Otherwise, it was not possible to explain the reason for the loss of vision. Ethel sat in her room and looked out of the window, from which there was a beautiful view of the imperial palace, above which there was a dark cloud without stars, which somewhat resembled a black hole. The girl was worried, as if she had a premonition of something bad. The girl was sitting on her bed and reading a book. Suddenly, from where she didn't know, she heard a strange voice, someone calling her by Stella's name and calling her his child and chosen one. She jumped out of bed and went to the window and looked at the starry sky. They are looking for you. Go and return what is yours. An unknown voice spoke. Ethel was shocked. What belongs to her? Is her place right there? Old memories resounded. The father shouted at little Stella and ordered her to tell him who conspired with the rebels, and also sent her to identify them. The girl denied that she could not do it, and that she also wanted to hear the voice of the stars. The man got even angrier and said that she was a useless fool, and added that she didn't even show her face, and there was absolutely no point in her. A small boy with light blonde hair, dressed in an elegant white suit, looked out from the door. He was very scared and immediately ran away when Stella saw him. The girl was completely alone in this cruel house. She had no choice but to listen to unpleasant statements in her direction. Her parents quarreled. The father accused his wife of how he could have such a ridiculous child. The mother denied her guilt, and he only maliciously asked if it was his child at all. Another girl with blonde hair approached Stella. She definitely did not come with friendly intentions. The blonde accused her that all this was because of her and called her bad. The father ordered the girl to serve Karen from now on. There is only one way to get such an honorable attitude towards yourself as her sister. You have to listen and understand the stars. But she forgot her name and began to serve her sister, and at the same time ceased to exist in this world. Ethel returned to the present realities. If only I had heard these voices earlier, everything would have turned out differently. The girl is no longer Stella, but Ethel. She will never go back there because now it is her home. Ethel and Daisy were sitting in the living room at the table eating muffins. The little one asked if there was a continuation of the story about the princess who was an ugly duckling. The girl confirmed that there is, but she definitely won't be interested in it. However, the sister objected and said that she would be interested. Once upon a time, there lived a father king, a mother queen, a sister and a brother, along with an ordinary ugly duckling princess. The monster received a lot of hatred from his relatives, and once she met someone special, a brave man who was the best swordsman in the entire kingdom. He was also a sweet creature, and sometimes gave her apples, smiling awkwardly. They became very close, but he stopped coming. Daisy was indignant and asked why. The girl was just about to explain to the younger woman why, but suddenly, an elderly woman entered the room and asked Ethel to go down to the first floor. She said this with a sweet smile on her face. Ethel obeyed and went down. The same knight was waiting for her downstairs. She asked why he was here, to which he replied that he had come to buy the 2 bottles of wine that the woman had advised him. But she asked if he meant Snow White and said that she would bring it now. But the elderly woman objected because she herself was going to the warehouse right now and at the same time would delight her. They stood facing each other. The man was a head or 2 taller than her. He apologized for distracting her at recess. The girl only paid attention to the imperial emblem at first, but this person is very beautiful and looks a lot like. The woman returned to reality. She told him that it was okay, and it was already time to cook dinner anyway. The man asked if he could know her name, The girl said her name was Ethel and asked him the same thing. He called himself Clyde, quite rare she noticed, even the same name as him. The girl thought about it and equated it with, "That? How did you know?" The man suddenly asked, "What?" She gave herself, and the knight explained that his name is really not widely spread among aristocrats, and even more so this information is classified to commoners. Ethel was frightened, and a tense atmosphere hung in the room. The girl apologized and explained that all her life she had only heard the names of commoners, and that is why it seemed rare. And she only now found out that it really is not common among higher people. The husband frowned and clearly did not believe her words very much. Ethel lowered her head, expecting something bad to happen. Suddenly, a second man entered the room from a carriage and addressed the gentleman as "Your Grace," and said that he had a meeting now and needed to hurry. Then he is a duke, thought the girl, and assured herself that Clyde was not the same. For a slave could not be an aristocrat. The knight gave her 2 gold coins. Their hands touched at the moment of handing over the coins. Ethel thought it looked strange, as she was nervous now, but what was more embarrassing was that he gave not 4 gold coins, but 5. And when I told him about it, I received an even more strange answer. Clyde said that was a fine wine tip and called her by name. Belwit's palace. Clyde walked with the second man, and the maids followed. The man said that the Duke had been late for the meeting for a long time, and he needed at least a smile as an apology. After all, the master used to do a great job, but now some maid from the tavern interrupted him and called him Peter Gilworth. He angrily said that he talks too much. He replied that he would be more careful from now on. Stella's sister asked the men if they had come. Yet both bowed and addressed themselves as Her Majesty. The girl threw her arms around the man's neck and said that she missed him very much, and here they are sitting in the garden, having a cup of tea. "The Emperor hopes that we will get married as soon as possible," said the girl. Peter turned to Clyde and said that all the soldiers and servants of his estate were waiting for the arrival of the new mistress. The gentleman stopped listening to the man and asked the lady if that was why she summoned him. "He is in a bad mood. We need to find out what happened." She thought, "You seem to be very busy helping your father and I distracted you," she said, hoping that he would not be offended. Clyde got up from the table, saying that if he had nothing more to say to her, he was leaving. The girl then said that he was the best candidate for the prince, and added that the emperor and she herself think so. "Everyone thinks so. Therefore," she began, but the master interrupted her, asking him to forgive. Peter bowed quickly to the lady and ran after his duke. "I want to kill and own him." The lady thought about this as she started to walk towards the manor, but Peter stopped her and said that he had something important to tell her. She ordered him to follow her. She took him to a quieter place and ordered him to speak. "Lately, the Duke has been interested in another girl," he said. The lady was indignant and did not believe what she heard. Clyde sipped red wine in his estate as he walked over to one of the walls. He picked up a cloth from a portrait of a man in military uniform, from a bastard to a slave, from the prince's swordsman opponent to the atrocious monster, from the hero of the empire to the duke, and terrible memories of his father standing in front of him with a belt and yelling at him for not having rights in this house came back. "Now he is a candidate for a prince," said the portrait, and took a sip of the red drink. "In his youth, Clyde did a terrible thing to his father, sending him to heaven. Dirty pig, you will destroy the Terranhill family," the man said at last, and added that the emperor would give him the title. However, what he wanted was not a title. Suddenly, a little girl appeared in the middle of the room, shining like a star and begging him not to harm this person. He thought about what a small body is capable of. "And today, you are still my star," said Clyde. Looking up at the sky, Ethel lay in her bed, and thoughts of Clyde did not leave her. But she could not forget the touch of their hands, enough to think about it. This name, so much time has passed. Clyde, the only one who did not care about her suffering. Karen approached her brother, who at the same time was holding the newspaper with the search for the second princess. He explained that he was wondering what Stella looks like now. No matter how much time has passed, His sister interrupted him, noticing that he began to think about her often. He had a feeling that he had done a terrible thing, and he should have stopped then, because if he had, they would have found her, or they didn't have to in the first place. Karen interrupted him again and said it wasn't their fault. Only this way and no other way. It was all for the sake of the empire. Its existence had to be secret, because then the entire royal family would be ridiculed at every turn. The brother denied that she was still their younger sister. Karen stopped him and added that there was no point in blaming himself because he wouldn't change anything. How boring, she thought. Ethel was thinking. In the portrait of the imperial family, there is a personal servant of Her Highness. This is an exceptional case. The princess once made a reservation that she is very attached to this girl and does not go anywhere without her. But this is still the only existing image of this little girl. Of course, a maid would never have the honor of being painted twice. It's all true, but it still seems strange. She is like a sparrow caught in the rain, a parasite among flowers. The ladies in front of the picture talked about it, hoping that the new portrait would be finished soon. Ethel came back to reality. Daisy said she wanted to sleep, and she called her here. The little one said that the stars are so beautiful, like small rays of light. "Do you really like stars?" Ethel asked, and added that they were also called tears of heaven. Daisy asked why. The girl explained that they are not as important as the dazzling sun or the shining moon. But if they were not there, travelers would not be able to find their way at night. Daisy fell asleep and remembered Ethel again. The parents quarreled about how they could send their own child to another country if their abilities were found to be so insignificant. But the wife interrupted the husband and denied that she was only 5. And if this happened to their other children, so be it. And what now? Karen thought about Peter's words. Because there are rumors that Clyde is looking for something every day. The lady told the maids that she was on her way to Viscount Evandor's. There was a crowd of aristocrats in the hall, watching the boy playing billiards. He had blonde hair, was wearing a white shirt and a red jacket. People were happy for him. And why are they like that? It's embarrassing. Karen addressed him as Jason. "Long time no see," she said. They moved to a solitary room. Jason lit a cigar and asked if it was all true. He is the richest man in the empire, the unrequited love of all the ladies, a born genius, a self-proclaimed best guy who is great at eloquence, but is a philanderer and a liar. His kindness and sincere smiles are fake. This is the Jason Evanders that Karen knows. The girl told him about a commoner who works in a tavern and is very similar to Stella. The gentleman asked how she learned about it. After all, the portrait published in the newspaper does not have to correspond 100% to the original. Karen denied his words because she had been told so, and she was sure of it. "And who told you?" he asked. Karen replied that it was none other than her future husband. The lady picked up a glass with a drink from the table and sipped it. Jason was surprised by the words he heard and asked if she would still be there. The girl looked at the bottle and noticed that it must be an expensive pleasure. Pan confirmed, because the first beauty of the empire came to him, and that is why it should be nice to receive it. No sincerity, Karen observed. In addition, he wants to hear the story of that similar person and what she was going to do about it. Understudy. She was tired of watching her family search for someone who was already dead. If the Duke could find someone so similar to a fictional portrait, then why not take advantage of it? What if she's still alive? Jason objected. If the fake can become the real Stella, then the search will stop identity theft. Jason asked that she wanted his help with this. Karen confirmed this because there is no other way, all for the sake of her beloved family. The lady asked him to win the girl's trust as soon as she will live in the palace. The gentleman asked what she meant. Karen explained that he was good at it and let him make her an obedient puppet. Jason denied that he did not steal women's hearts. Such stories do not have a good ending. "Has anyone played nobility?" she asked. He put out his cigarette and said that she should be careful with what she says. After all, now they are connected, and the fallen imperial family and the Evandors are not on the same level. Dirty money decides everything. Jason slyly agreed and will do what he can. Ethel was placing a large jar of light orange liquid Suddenly, a man spoke to her. She was frightened by this and dropped it on the floor, from which it broke completely. The gentleman asked if she was injured, but she only asked who he was. He introduced himself as Jason Evanders, and to his friends, only Jay. Aristocrat, so luxuriously dressed, thought the girl. Jay asked permission to help her off the stool. He gave her his hand, and she thanked him in return. The gentleman asked her name. She bowed and introduced herself as Ethel. What a beautiful name, the man noticed. If only she could say her real name. Jay assured her that there was no need to be afraid of him, because he was not a bad person. She is familiar with this smile, as if they put on a mask of pretense. In fact, he is here because he has a request for her. To me? Ethel asked in surprise. Maybe she already heard about the missing second princess. He has a good offer for her, although she deserves more. The girl accidentally stepped on broken glass with her bare foot and injured herself. Jay told her not to move. Pan took her in his arms, but Ethel did not like it and begged him to let her go. He did not listen to her and only asked if there was medicine here. Jay put her on a stone log and began to treat the wound on her leg. When he took out a piece of glass, the girl screamed in pain. Fortunately, the wounds were not deep. He said that he provided her with first aid, and now she has to stay calm these days. Ethel thanked him, to which he replied that if she was really grateful, then could he ask for a favor in return. The girl said that she is a commoner without education and therefore knows almost nothing. Jay said that the first thing to do is to keep your mouth shut because everything has to be secret. Without question, Ethel asked him to continue, and she understands quickly. He thought and remembered what Karen had told him. She looks like a second princess, so there will be no complications. She has basic beauty, modest character, and you only need to make a compliment, and she will immediately be at his feet. It seems the lady was mistaken. The girl sat on the swing and thought about Jay's proposal, plunged into their recent dialogue. With appearance, everything is clear, but what about abilities? She cannot hear the stars, said Ethel. The man denied that it was not a problem, and those who knew Stella personally said that she did not have such strength. People who knew Princess Stella personally, Ethel could not forget these words. She has no doubt that these are her sister Karen's words. Suddenly, Daisy called her, thereby returning to reality, and asked how the story about the ducklings ended, because she told her every day before going to bed, and never heard the end. Ah, the end, said Ethel, and began to draw ducklings in the sand. Later memories of the palace began to be forgotten, and when the princess decided to look at her reflection in the mirror, she was very surprised. Why did Daisy ask? After all, there was no ugly duckling there. She seemed incredible. Daisy suggested that she was not a duck, but a swan. But Ethel denied this because she personally saw herself in the mirror and immediately fell in love with herself. The sisters added that it would be more interesting if there was a secret to her birth. The girl continued to draw in the sand. In any case, the princess got happiness. Now it's a new duckling. Daisy said she was very brave and asked if her sister had ever met her. Gone are the memories of the dialogue with Jay. He said that he had already decided on her future, so she would not have to stay in the palace for a long time. Duke Clyde Thornhill, he will be your future husband. Ethel was frightened and terrified. Ethel was cleaning the tables on the first floor, but she was thinking only of the dialogue with Mr. The girl started. It's a good suggestion, but Jay interrupted her and added that Princess Karen loved her family very much and asked about her. The girl frowned, and the man asked her to make the right choice. The girl remembered her family, not the imperial family. Of course, warmth and joy emanated from them. Will she be able to leave them? Suddenly, Karen and her servants entered the tavern. Ethel saw her sister for the first time in so many years, and she was horrified. The girl bowed to her, and she only asked if she was an employee of this institution. Ethel confirmed this, and the lady asked to raise her head. She introduced herself as the first princess of the state, Karen Idalanti. The girl wondered if her sister really wanted to find out who was in front of her now. They shook hands. The lady said that she just wanted to find the so-called Ethel who works here and asked where she was now. The girl removed her hand, saying that such an important person should not touch a commoner. This is not a lie. Her sister did not recognize her. However, our state rests on the shoulders of the common people. As a princess, she must pay attention to her people. The knights behind the lady were talking about how kind their mistress was. A beautiful smile, a warm voice. It's natural to look at her with eyes like theirs. But the lady asked her name. The girl introduced herself and said her name was Ethel. The princess was very surprised at this and said that she was very beautiful. And Stella herself thought that her sister had not changed. Karen asked if there was a living room. Ethel denied this, but offered to go into her room, as it was quiet enough to talk. She was a little ragged, but that hardly bothered her. They ended up in her room. The lady took out a small piece of cloth and spread it on the bed and sat on it. Karen said that the girl must already know why she is here. The princess took her hand and began to cry and persuade her, because this is the last hope. After the disappearance of her sister, the whole family was left alone. Words cannot convey how they suffer. She assured Ethel removed her hand again and replied that she was only an unfeminine commoner, and how could she portray a noble lady? Karen assured that it would be enough to pretend that she did not remember anything about her childhood. Besides, she had not lived in the palace for 10 years. And it would not be surprising if the behavior would not be like that of a noble lady. Ethel bowed and said she was sorry. The second princess might still be alive, so it's wrong to do that. Karen put her hand on her cheek and said that she didn't know if her sister was still alive. But because of this child, the family couldn't let go of the past, and even those whom she loves. The lady asked everyone to forget about Stella. The real Ethel was never entitled to anything, so she was told she was fake. And now the fake is being asked to play the role of a princess so that everyone will forget about the real one. Was Stella even human to anyone? Ethel asked if she loved her sister. Karen said yes, and that it was true. The girl added that a lady can say such things so easily, steal someone else's identity that belongs to her younger self, who may still be alive. Karen denied this because she knows for sure that her sister is dead and asked not to ask her how she knew this. But Ethel did not listen and confidently asked it. The princess definitely didn't like it. Ethel apologized for somehow offending Her Majesty, but she is simply too afraid to leave her family. This puts a burden on her heart so that the lady loves her family, so she does not listen to her soul. The girl asked not to take it from her. Ethel, Karen spoke up. The girl refused and does not want to live like Stella. For her, now there is nothing more important than her family. She knelt down and began to beg the princess not to take her away. If only I could live here for the rest of my life. The princess began to threaten her. Can you build a fruit stand in the back? Is it a seafood store or fertilizers? Not a bad idea either, but she ordered her to choose. Ethel was really scared to the point of goosebumps on her body. Ethel asked what she was talking about. Karen explained that this inn was going to be demolished. Isn't it clear? And who knows when her family will suddenly disappear. Together, the girl felt all the pain of hopelessness. The princess assumed that she might be evil now, but she had no choice but to become Stella. Karen gave her a week to think and make a decision. Choice. She asked about Ethel because she doesn't have him. Do you offer something similar, but you yourself hold a knife to the throat of the weaker one? She snapped. The lady was immediately enraged by this. Ethel added that she was holding her family hostage and generously offered a choice. I think you said that everyone in the palace is missing the missing princess, right? Said the girl. Ethel was already bursting with emotion and continued to cross herself in front of her, almost with a scream. If all this is true, then is this exactly what should be done for the sake of someone who is grieving? Karen was annoyed and said that if she really cared about her precious sister like that, she would be in tears thanking her from heaven. She also added that Ethel was behaving as if she had already become the second princess. The girl was indignant at these words and said that, as the princess had said before, if she did this, she would be very useful to Her Majesty. Therefore, I can become Stella, Ethel said confidently. Karen's anger knew no bounds. Are you going to be rude to someone? She spoke maliciously and added that her plebeian family is so worthless that she cannot distinguish between good and bad. The girl waved it off, saying that the princess is noble and believes that she will understand these commoners. How dare she think she can get away with it? By the way, the princess I remember was a generous, respectful, and very modest month of the empire, and you are completely different. Ethel spoke and was pleased with herself and was not going to stop. You don't want the security at the door to find out, do you? She added. Ethel asked if they could go in the carriage and added that the drawing room suited her better than the fertilizer shop and opened the door of the room. Karen couldn't stand it and grabbed her hand pretty hard and yelled that she was being rude. It hurts, said the girl. The knights ran up to them and had time to see this picture. They were very shocked by the harshness of their princess. Ethel said that the arm she had sprained hurt very much. The lady waved her off and followed her subject, saying that that was enough for today. An imperial house lost in its own fantasies. In order to get rid of greed, Karen hid behind the mask of hypocrisy. Ethel does not want to become a victim of this black remorse. She will go and ruthlessly destroy the Stella they are so desperately looking for. Clyde was writing a letter, but suddenly Peter came to him. The Duke asked what had happened, to which he replied that Princess Stella had returned to the palace. Out of shock, he left a black spot from the pen on the paper, because he could not believe what he heard. Peter asked if his master would go to the palace, to which he replied that not now. He was indignant at his answer, because the Duke had been looking for the princess for a long time. Wasn't it because of that woman from the inn? It cannot be. Have you given your heart to someone like her? Peter couldn't believe it, and Clyde only said that he was too smart. The Duke was surprisingly calm. Ethel was on her way to the palace in a carriage. She didn't like it, but there was no other choice left. She was already standing in the throne room in front of her relatives. Her parents had aged enough in that time. Father asked what she was going to tell them. Mother denied him and said that she had already said before that Stella had lost her memory. He does not remember anything. He cannot send a star to the sky. Then how is he supposed to believe that she is the real Stella? Karen admitted that she was sorry and that maybe she was in a hurry. After all, the lady missed her sister very much and hopes for her return. Mom replied that Karen tried hard, but it was all in vain. Her father shouted at her that he had told her to stop looking for her a long time ago. His wife interrupted him because it was he who ordered to start the search, because he did not know how to deal with the imperial curse. That's stubborn. Stella is long dead, the emperor shouted. Unexpectedly, Ethel pointed to one of the walls of the hall and said that the portrait of the imperial family used to hang here. Where is it? This was the only painting in which she was depicted. After that, every time the artist came, she was sent away for all other tasks. It would be a miracle if it still hung here. The whole family was shocked and horrified. The brother asked the sister about the fact that she seems to have lost her memory. Ethel did not stop and asked her father if his left arm still hurt after being wounded by a bear while hunting. He was covered in a cold sweat. Then she asked her mother if she still had insomnia, because earlier the empress had consulted doctors, but it was all in vain and did not help. The lady was shocked by what she heard and wondered how she knew this. The father couldn't stand it and jumped to his feet and began to accuse Karen of the fact that she had told her. However, Ethel said these words, "You're just a decoy to keep the real younger princess safe. Do you understand?" He told her this personally. The emperor was horrified, but said that it was true. "Long time no see," Sister Stella said confidently, and added that she was back. Jason was at home, playing darts, but suddenly a man came to him. The gentleman asked if she had returned yet, to which he replied that she had, and the atmosphere was quite festive. The people want to see how Stella will return the stars to the sky, and that is why everyone gathers in the capital. Jay turned to the assistant with a bet and held the dart to his face and said that he would bet on the diamond mines of the Sutherland lands that this girl would not be able to do anything. The man decided to remain silent because his bets are always winning. How boring. said Mr. The assistant said that he refused to play with him, but the casino players would definitely show interest, because who would refuse the diamond mines of the Sutherland lands? And he wished good luck to the young master, and he, with hot eyes, put his hand on his shoulder and left. Jay thought that if she was able to fool the imperial family, she definitely couldn't fool the heavens. He approached the big door and asked himself how much money he would win today. Stella was dressed in an exquisite dark green dress with gold inserts. The maids who were nearby said that her ornaments were very elegant. They were very beautiful and shone more than any other in the world. The girl asked to be left alone. She looked into the far corner of the room and saw her little self crying away from everyone. Stella mentally told herself that she was indeed back. There was a knock on Karen's room, and she thought it was her brother and told him to leave because she couldn't talk to him now, but it wasn't him. It was Stella. The girl said that she had a question, to which she received an answer that they did not want to listen to her. Stella said that she really wondered if it was true that her sister did such a terrible thing because she couldn't watch her family suffer. Karen was beside herself with rage. It does not seem so. If it is true, a useless fake who doesn't remember anything and without any abilities would definitely not be suitable for this role. That is why Karen chose the empty Ethel, a way to completely get rid of the second princess, frustrate everyone over and over again by showing the fake to get them to let go of all their regret. Stella remarked that it was fortunate that she had managed to fool everyone because of the ineptitude of the replacement, who is a commoner to the bone. The honor of the real princess would be trampled in the mud. However, for Karen, it is still a consolation that she managed to fool everyone. The lady got angry and shouted that she was insolent. Stella did not like it and asked if she should go and tell her how her sister threatened her because she can repeat everything verbatim. Karen said that the only person she threatened was that commoner who is worthless, and even her death will not be worth anything. Stella asked that if they asked why she did that to her sister, she would say, I didn't know she was a commoner. In her opinion, this is how ordinary people should be treated. How can it be you are so confused? And I haven't even started yet, said Stella. Karen snapped, saying that she had grown up a lot, and added that no matter what she said, they wouldn't believe her. Who will listen to a girl who was humiliated in the palace and spent her entire childhood as a commoner? Are her people here? The lady said that everyone here hates her. Stella agreed with this and added that there are no people of hers here, but many people know her sister. The ideal, dignified, graceful first princess is Karen Idolante. Stella asked if they had made a deal, took out a sealed envelope, and held it to her face. She added that her life as well as her family's is enclosed in this paper. The contract of two princesses. Karen was not joking. She appeared to her bodyguards specifically then, so that now even those close to her would find out about her pretense. Stella repeats that she knows all her weaknesses. The lady clenched her fist in anger. How glorious, said the second princess. Sister, do you wish to save your miserable reputation? Stella said with a smile on her face. She is also interested in the reason for choosing a husband for a possibly dead princess. Karen replied that the Duke himself had asked for it in exchange for help in restoring her influence, in exchange for her. But why? Karen snapped that he liked her sister. What else to take from a slave who was her brother's fencing partner as a child? Stella was shocked. The lady said that it was time for her sister to get ready because the sun would rise in 5 hours, but she still wouldn't be able to return the stars. So Stella will answer for her rudeness. The girl agreed and said that we will have a look. Stella walked down the corridor and was lost in thought. It was definitely him, her valiant duckling, the hero of the empire, Duke Clyde Thornhill. The girl accidentally overheard the conversation of the maids about the fact that in spades there are similar high stakes and the question of whether Princess Stella will be able to return the stars. She told them that she wanted to learn more about these rumors. Stella rode in a carriage and managed to avoid being seen by others. She was dressed in a black cloak with a hood. The maid said that the owner of Peaks was betting on her and that he had put Sutherland's diamond mines. The girl of Peaks, Viscount Jason Evanders, Casino. Walking around this place, she saw a considerable number of drunken aristocrats, many of whom were taken out for indecent behavior. Stella was lost in thought. She guesses why Karen became friends with Jay. The royal treasury is most likely empty, and gambling is booming. Mr. Evanders provides for the imperial family, which in turn turns a blind eye to his behavior. An assistant came up to her and indicated that the bets were being made in that tent and pointed to it with a finger. Stella ignored him and went away. When she went there, she saw a man in a luxurious suit with a mustache. The gentleman asked what she would bet on. Stella asked what the current odds were. The man said that bets on the fact that the stars will not rise prevail. How many? Movila and... The man told her to bet 1 billion, and she could win the diamond mines of Evanders. Stella took a quill and a black ticket and bet that amount on return. The gentleman asked her to think again because this is a lot of money. People behind the lady's back discussed what she had bet on and said that it was money for the wind. Stella changed her mind and said it must be a gamble and wrote 10 billion gold on the tickets. Posh was shocked and repeated the amount once more and added that it was a check from Evandor's bank. The girl said that she had heard that this was the best casino in the entire empire, but judging by his attitude to the guest of honor, the lord apologized to the lady and bowed before her and gave her the golden scroll and told her that it was a magical instrument with her bet and advised her to guard it carefully. Clyde was practicing swordsmanship with himself, and scenes were playing out in his head. He brought the emperor a crown that was all covered in red spots. He eagerly accepted this gift and said that thanks to the sacrifices of valiant knights, the royal family would recover after the rebellion. The emperor said that the knight could ask for anything he wanted, but the knight only wanted one thing. He asked to give him Princess Stella, the star of the empire. But what was he afraid of? Clyde remembered how he met Ethel tonight. Stella returned to the palace and met the Empress, but she noticed that the princess came late and hugged her, and also said that she so unexpectedly asked for a blank check and ran away, and there were thoughts that her daughter would not return. Mom was afraid that she had disappeared again. That's how it is. Mother remembered her as disappeared. The maid standing nearby said that it was a very touching scene. Stella whispered in her ear that she was back. "I'm back," was the most paradoxical thing she ever said. Mother asked her to look at her and said that she should go because everyone is waiting for her. Interesting. If she could not return the stars, what kind of face would her beloved mother have? The whole family gathered near one big window. The girl opened it, and from the street, all the people started shouting, "Princess!" The brother said that Stella could do anything. The lady does not want to live up to their expectations. "Stella, our child," said the stars. The girl raised her hands to the sky and said that she was the child of the stars, and Stella Idolante. The people were inspired. Despite the fact that she is back, the lady will not be who they want to see. Stella will use her status to protect the people on Ethel's behalf. In front of the girl's hands, a dark purple layer formed around which were golden rays. Karen couldn't believe it. Pointing his hands to the sky, one straight golden ray was formed. They returned. "The stars have come down again. She is a real princess, returned to protect the empire. Glory to Idolante." The voice of the people rang out. Stella cried, and it really happened. Clyde stood with the crowd and looked at the princess, who was standing in tears, and wondered if it was Ethel. He was shocked. Stella sat at the same table with Mr. Viscount. "I swear by my diamond mines," she said, and continued, "Isn't that what they say as a sign of respect? It is a pity that he will not be able to say these words again." She poured herself some tea. Jason Evanders, the richest man, is an entrepreneur. Not that of the empire, but of the entire continent, and half of his income comes from diamond mines. Jay carefully read the piece of paper. Stella said that if it is finished, then we will sign it. She will gratefully accept the diamond mines. The man dismissed it as a fraud, and it was not fair to bet on himself and still needs dividends. The girl replied that she did not expect to hear this from a person who agreed to make a bet, knowing that it was all fake. They made her a scapegoat without her consent. She doesn't like that. If he does not give everything honestly, then she will decide it at the imperial level. Jay said, the place has stayed afloat for so long because of Karen's support, but not her. Most of all, people want to get a casino that cheats even the princess herself, right? The girl asked. Jay addressed her as Her Majesty, but she interrupted him and asked if he understood what she was talking about. She patted the piece of paper and said he owed her money. The girl thought that it was Karen's dog. He was always the one she didn't want to deal with the most. But this was a good opportunity to get even with the even doors. Stella has to use it. She needs power. The princess offered a compromise. He can only pay her the value of the mines and keep them for himself. However, she will be at a loss because it is like taking one golden egg from the hen that lays them and leaving her. What do you want? He asked. Stella replied that she wanted the full value of the mines and 40% of the income monthly. Jay said that 40 is too much. Then she should take the mines entirely. 10:30 Jay said why argue with each other and why not find a compromise? 20% and let him spend one of his time. Stella agreed. She invests her dividends in a casino. He will invest half in the business and give half to people who have lost money. What do you think about starting a foundation in her name? Jay asked, to which the girl replied that it was not bad. The girl said that Mr. is an entrepreneur, and of course, it is better to use this money than to give it to her diamond bills or revenues. It's as easy for him as breathing. And since their ancestors' grandfather and father Sutherland belongs to the Evendors, she doesn't think they will ever be destroyed, even as a symbol of a bygone era. Jay said she was right, and he was infatuated with her. Therefore, Stella hopes that the master will properly manage the mines to replenish her pocket. Evanders agreed. Jason brought the letter to the lady and asked her to sign the contract, and she would gain strength. Stella took it and said she would do one last thing. She wrote at the bottom that all negotiations were with her consent, which means that the princess gave in. Stella asked him to be grateful for her concession at their next meeting and dropped the letter on his desk. Jason was shocked and disappointed at the same time as the contract fell in front of his face. The princess told him in all confidence that she hoped he would pay his respects as one who played the victor. After that, she left him. The father remembered how the subjects shouted the surname Idelante. He grabbed his forearms and said that it felt like rebirth. This is the restoration of the empire itself. Stella, that ugly duckling, has truly been reborn as a second princess. If he had discovered her abilities a little earlier than 10 years ago, he would have been supported by the people and would have been able to overthrow the aristocrats. And then he wouldn't be in debt to Clyde for saving his status and crown. Suddenly, someone approached him. He turned and thought it was Stella and shouted her name, but it was not her, but Karen. The lady said she heard her father was looking for her. The gentleman confirmed this and asked her to sit down. They sat at the table and drank tea. Father started to say why he called her, but Karen cut him off and said she knew the reason because of Stella. The lady explained that she was a fool because there was no need to find her so early, but who knew that she was right under his nose? The princess added that if he wanted to thank her, he shouldn't, because that's what a loving sister and daughter should do. The father denied that he wanted to ask where she found it. What? Karen asked. The emperor explained that he owed gold status and lands to those who raised her, as he had promised. Karen bowed and said she found her on the street. Outside? He asked. Karen waved it off, saying that there was no need to dwell on it because Stella had returned to them, and that was the main thing she said, holding her father's hand. Her father waved her hand away and said that he understood her. Karen was furious and said it was a disgusting feeling. Is she the same as me now? This abomination, thought the princess. No, not yet, because she has Jason Evanders. It is only necessary to say, and he will deal with everything. Jason bowed and greeted the second princess. He thanked her for giving her precious time and sincerely apologizes for those actions. He asked if the lady would forgive him. Evanders noticed a mug of tea, and an idea struck him. He said that the tea was of a higher grade, and she would like to try it, but she refused. The gentleman got up, apologized, and took a sip of the drink, saying that there was no poison here. The gentleman said that now she is his special client, and he is also an entrepreneur, and not so stupid as to harm the owner of the stars, the favorite of the imperial family and the people. Stella said to always be careful. The gentleman said with a laugh that he dare assume she was counting the minutes, and asked if the lady still hated him. Ridiculously, when he came to her, for the first time he looked at her with a threatening look. Jay assured her that he didn't mean to anger her. For him, adopting a friendly image is the same as turning the mask upside down. How much was your contract with Karen? She asked. Jay was surprised and asked what she was talking about. Only a day has passed, and he has already become a completely different person. That is why she is interested in knowing the price of their agreement. She should be careful with whom it is so easy to unmask. Also, the lady heard that the master keeps a large army of mercenaries in the empire. Jason confirmed this. Protection is important. Jay asked if it was all because of her temporary family, and added if the real family knew about it. He said that she should protect those relatives. The master asked the maid to bring new tea, and she brought it and left after bowing. It is worth saying something provocative to her, and everything will be revealed immediately. He knows that the family is her weakness and is going to manipulate it. Jay protested how that was possible. If he even touches her family with a finger, then firstly, he will irrevocably lose a special client. Secondly, the trust of the people, and thirdly, the dignity of the Avendors. And she will do anything for that. Well, he should have kept quiet. Then there wouldn't be any tension now. How can I introduce mercenaries? The lady asked, and added that she only needed 3 skilled people, and it would be nice if they could handle household chores. With what? He asked. 3 huge guys came to the tavern. The old man asked who they were. The woman replied that they needed a job, and instead of money, they only needed food and a roof over their heads. As luck would have it, they just need workers. One guy said that he was a chef. Another said that he cleans the floor well and serves tables with ease. The third said that he knows how to take orders and set the table. The guy with red hair had an axe. The other said he was good at cutting meat and chopping wood. The man lifted the wood, showing how carefully. The old man said that the work of guards is more suitable than in the inn. The blonde answered that there were many times more at the ATM. But another interrupted him and said that there are things more important than money. The black-haired man said that since childhood, he dreamed of working in a tavern. The old man asked about it because he could not believe it. It turned out that the woman's name was Mary. She held the black-haired man's hands and said that it was a very wonderful dream and they should support him, and asked her husband about it. The guy asked to take care of him. Daisy ran up to them and asked who they were. The blonde offered her a ride on his neck. The little girl happily agreed and climbed on top of him. Suddenly, Clyde entered the tavern. Everyone greeted him warmly. Daisy said that it was the same handsome knight. The man was dressed in civilian clothes. Mary and her husband bowed and asked for what purpose the honorable gentleman had come to see them. Before doing so, Clyde carefully inspected the entire tavern. He asked where Ethel was. The old people looked at each other sadly. Pan was heading to the carriage and remembered their words. They said that Ethel left and didn't even say where she was going, only leaving a note saying that she would explain everything to them later and ask them not to worry. Clyde asked if there was any idea where she might have gone. They answered that they had no idea and yawned. Sadly, Mary asked why, and maybe something happened. This anxiety is like lava before an eruption. He'll go crazy if he doesn't get her back. Can he draw his sword? If he starts waving his bloody sword like a madman, he might be able to find out where Ethel is. But how is he afraid of the truth? The answer is right in front of his nose. He just needs to gather courage, and he just walks around and can't squeeze anything out of himself. If Ethel turns out to be Stella, then Clyde got into the carriage. His assistant, Peter, asked where to take the gentleman, to which he replied that he was going to the palace. The maids were collecting the hair of the first princess, until suddenly another maid entered the hall. Karen asked her if Stella went to meet Jason, and she answered that they did not just meet. Pan called her into the living room and treated her to high-quality tea. The maid added that he ordered her to be escorted to the carriage and remembered this scene. Karen repeated the word accompany in her head and also thought, what a brat he is, because he always tells her what to do and sends her away as soon as possible. Jason Evanders is still that abomination. Karen patted the maid on the head and called her Becky and thanked her. The maid objected and said her name was Annie. The princess apologized and dismissed the fact that she was tired and therefore confused. Annie said nothing and thanked her and added that she also wanted to be such a graceful and noble girl like her. And it is possible, Becky said the princess. My name is, she started, but was interrupted and wished a good day. The maid inhaled and said what a pleasant smell. The lady is so kind, she thought. Stella was writing a letter. Are you doing well, Dad, Mom, and my beloved Daisy? Now is the time when the sun illuminates the tavern more brightly. I miss this warmth. Every day I realize more and more the importance of this place for me. I miss my room. Suddenly, a maid came to her and apologized for disturbing her. She explained that the lady looked very sad and worried. Stella replied that she was thinking about something. The maid said that she was fine and calmed down. She must be the same age as Daisy, she thought, so small and harmless, but Stella still has to be careful. The lady said she could go. Karen entered the room and sat next to her. She ordered to sit closer, and usually the guest is served tea. Stella said that she did not come there to see her. What happened? Karen protested that a princess shouldn't behave like that. Stella said that she only returned to the palace a week ago, so can she be excused? Karen said that she would not tolerate such a thing, to which Stella said that she was such a good princess. Of course she would forgive her and thanked her sister. Enough chatter, said the first princess. She told her parents that she found her on the street and let them know that it was sisterly kindness because it is not known whether he rewarded her family or, on the contrary, punished her. Stella snapped that she just didn't want to let such a trump card out of her hands. As her weakness, Karen said that she misperceives the good deeds of other people and added that a princess should not have such a character trait. The girl said that she didn't need people's good attitude and she would just go to her father, and she didn't have time to finish how Karen ordered her to sit down, but she didn't listen. Her sister grabbed her hand, but Stella waved it away. She leaned towards her and asked why her sister was lying so brazenly. Karen said that she did not want her parents to find out about everything because Stella did not send them a single letter. Stella said that her presence here is necessary. The imperial family will do anything to keep her. That's why it was hidden, and it's important. A good excuse, that is when you returned to the palace. You liked it so much that you even forgot to write them a letter, Karen said. Stella replied that not at all, and that she misses them. Stella repeated this and added that she would never understand it, which made her sister even more angry. Suddenly, a maid came up to the second princess and said something in her ear. She started to leave and said that the Duke was already waiting for her. Karen was very angry. The second princess was followed by 3 maids until she turned to them and asked them not to follow her and added that Annie the maid was trying very well. What? Movila followed her. The feeling is like an errand placed in a long drawer. What are his intentions really? Clyde disgrace of the family bastard child of a maid. These words no longer mean anything to him. He was called that way from birth. He swung his sword like crazy. It was the only thing he was good at. He does not move. Can he pour water over it? Push it. It will squirm like an insect. That's right. It's better not to waste water. Let's beat him, said the people standing over the little boy. Clyde was considered a slave. He lived like the last, with nothing but, after he was sold for a high price to the royal court. The man told the prince that no one of his age possessed a sword like him. The guy is just a genius when it comes to fencing. Clyde was lucky to be tutoring the youngest of the royal family. The prince and princesses sat at the dinner table with Clyde. He stuffed his mouth with everything he saw. God, he eats like an animal. You can't cheat blood, brother. How is his Clyde? Sounds pathetic, Karen said. The name is like a mongrel. He was not offended. If there is a person whom everyone loves for no reason, then, as a rule, there must be someone who is simply hated. Gradually, it crossed all limits. The prince was standing in the middle of the hall with a wound on his forearm. Everyone immediately ran up to him. Karen asked him if he was okay. He was in pain. Security will catch him. He wanted to kill my brother, she shouted. Quickly capture and execute him. The princess continued to scream. It's finally over, thought the boy. Suddenly, Stella stood in front of him and spread her arms to protect him. He saw a star in her. The girl shouted that it was impossible to touch him and turned to brother Joseph. Karen screamed that she had seen him hurt their brother's arm and was still protecting him. This ungrateful scum? The princess turned to Joseph and said that an advisor must be called to find out who is behind him, and until then he must be tied up. Stella offered to tie it herself so that she would not waste her time because she is the moon of the empire. And she also asked her brother to spare Clyde because he did it by accident. That's obvious. The boy looked at her and felt warmth. Joseph asked him to explain himself. He remembered how the duel was going, during which he looked at Stella and almost missed the sword from the prince. His defensive reaction worked, and he hit her on the shoulder. Clyde said that he looked at the princess. Karen asked if it was her. The guy wanted to say no, but Stella interrupted him and said that of course it was her. After all, he was probably fascinated by her sister's beauty, and that's why he got distracted, and because of that, he touched his brother's hand. Karen said it was an important cause and asked her brother what they were going to do. Close your eyes and let him go. Joseph agreed, because if he wanted to kill him, there would be poison on the edge of the blade. Stella was the only star for Clyde that day. Ethel, he couldn't stop looking at her because she looked so much like Stella. When the Duke looks at her, his heart beats faster and he loses his mind. Knox until then, even after the return of the second princess. Therefore today, Mr. The second princess of the empire is Stella Idolante. She came out to him, and he meanwhile stood as if buried. 10 years ago, Your Majesty Princess Clyde turned to her. The girl replied that there is no need to call her, that she is just Stella. Such a relationship is unnecessary for her. She is only a decoy, necessary to protect the first princess servant to Lady Karen. That's how it should be with such worthless people, as those who are incapable of anything. The girl spoke, even when she herself was ashamed of herself. Clyde wondered why he said that. After all, she is incredible, and that is more than enough, so there is no need to be sad, he said with a smile. He was the first to appreciate her. He is also a hero who brought back the imperial regime. The butler asked if the lady wanted to come in, and she agreed. She bowed to the Duke and said that she had heard that he had been looking for her. Suddenly, Clyde hugged her and started crying. He hugged her as hard as he could. Stella Ethel washed that one. 6 years ago, a young guy named Monster appeared. The bloodthirsty monster won a crushing victory over the nobles, becoming a hero. God commanded him to protect the imperial family. Arguments about whether this was really so continue to this day. He became a hope for the slaves, but was comforted by the title of people's hero. He restored the palace and even brought her here. It was always interesting who was her enemy, and it turned out to be her valiant ducking. She asked him not to cry, but she is afraid of him. He knows Stella and Ethel and can tell the whole truth to the emperor. But the girl is glad to see him because Clyde is the only one who was with her in childhood, and the boy did not forget her and found her again. The maid came to the empress and reported that the Duke of Tarrenhill had met with the second princess. They were both now in the hall. She replied that she had a very strange dream yesterday. It contained fragments of the night they left Stella. The maid said that it was normal because she had not seen her for 10 years. She added that she should not worry because the second princess had returned. The lady has earned the grace of heaven, and very soon it will spread to the entire palace. The family values their daughter so much that they allocated her a personal estate. It's true, but she doesn't believe it. Her thoughts were disturbed by the words that she had specifically thrown her useless in the hope that she would die immediately. If he cannot get rid of her, he will force someone else to do it. Frankly, there was never any estate to protect her. If this truth comes out, everyone will hate it. What mother would abandon her child to save herself? Is she even human? She will be cursed for the rest of her life. No, I can't stand it. She spoke anxiously. The maid was worried and said that after a long time, the lady met her daughter. Maybe because of this, she is now in emotional tension. All the workers know that they kept her in a safe place to protect her. Indeed, everyone thinks so. Now, said the Empress, and added that she would protect Stella and give her all her motherly love, and offered to go to the living room. She should protect her from this monster. Clyde asked her if she still played the piano. Stella replied that it was a common instrument, even in a house from a non-noble family. That's how he answered. He keeps looking at her like that. Now he's going to burn a hole. The girl thought that when they met again, they would have many topics to talk about. Clyde added that his estate also had a piano, and the girl asked if he played too. The gentleman said that he has no flair for it. It belongs to a dear person. To whom? Stella asked. He remained silent. The girl wondered who it belonged to and asked about the fact that she had heard that he wanted to marry her. He did not expect this and choked on his tea. Stella asked if he was okay, and the gentleman apologized in response and was embarrassed. Pan stood up and said that he had already received the blessing of her parents, but had not yet received her response. He knelt in front of her and took out the box with the ring, and said that he had always waited for this day. Will you accept this engagement ring, allowing it to become your personal knight? Clyde spoke. I am a duke, she began, but suddenly the Empress came to the hall and shouted her daughter's name. Clyde sadly put the wedding ring in his pocket. Mom said that 10 years had already passed, and they had been away from each other for so long, and now he wanted to take her back. What is the poor mother to do then? Now she wants to be a diligent mother. The girl thought. The Empress asked the gentleman to think, because surely the princess will not miss her family. She should stay with her parents if he takes her away. Interrupted her daughter. Stella denied that she wanted to go with him herself. Mom shouted her name. The girl thought that this would be the worst option, but she would never be Ethel again, even if the Duke separated her from her family. He is still much better than those who abandoned a personal child. The lady asked if she really did not understand. She came here because she was tired of constant surveillance. They said that she had disappeared, but that was not the case. Her mother abandoned her daughter. The Empress began to apologize to her and said that she was sorry. The lady held her hands. Stella thought they were so warm and rough. She was scared. Don't apologize, said the girl. A child, said the woman. The princess is afraid that he might forgive her. It's too late, she doesn't need her apology. So if she's really sorry, then let her go. Because having abandoned her the first time, she should have been ready to bear the punishment for her sins. She turned to the master and took his hand and asked to go with her to another place before they returned to the previous conversation. She led him to her room and said they would continue there. But other voices came from her. But how dare you lie to me? The emperor spoke. The maid said that the princess looked sad as she wrote the letter and asked to be spared. Suddenly, they entered the room. Stella, father said, "This is mine," said the girl, and asked to return it. He returned. The lady said that she knew that she was being watched and would have to sit quietly in her room. She will be useful as long as she is in the palace. So starting with this letter, don't pay attention to her. This is impossible, he said, because soon she has to appear before the people as a princess who wants to give her the title of count. Where did she come from? What pain did you feel? He asked. Stella said he must want to hear how low she fell, but she was able to return the stars, and it seemed even more suspicious to him because the second princess never had such abilities. But she was always useless. He took her by the shoulders and called her by name. Father, she turned to him. Is she real or not? Why is he so interested? Is it really that important? You are the second princess of the Bellwitz Empire, Stella Idolante, and I am your father. How can I hurt you? By my power you will be given a tiara. And his girlfriend interrupted him. She asked who gave him that power and asked him to leave her alone and let that maid go. Do you hate me that much? He asked, and added that she hated him so much that she agreed to marry the Duke, whom she had seen several times. Is her hatred of her family so great that she is willing to leave with a stranger? The girl thought that he was still asking if he hated them, and said that she did not know what answer he was waiting for, and asked him to leave. The emperor asked the master to bring her to him. He took her in his arms. How can she forget that he is on his side? Clyde asked her not to cry, and her father told her to sit on the sofa because they had a lot to discuss, but he carried her in the opposite direction. The emperor shouted, asking where he was going. His assistant Peter ran after him and told the gentleman that fame is hard to gain and easy to lose. You should think things over carefully because they are not yet married. The princess still belongs to the emperor, and if he takes her away, do you belong? He asked again, and said that she is not someone's personality. Peter asked him to be patient. Clyde said spitefully that he was patient because his assistant was still alive. You abandoned me. She was useless. These words echoed in his head. He was such a fool. How can he arrange a peaceful life for her? Clyde looked at him maliciously and said that he had forgiven him so much. That's what he told the princess about Ethel. Peter explained that he did it for the sake of the Thornhill family. The man said that he would not see him again, and added that he had already found what he was looking for, and he no longer needed it. Peter said that he cannot be fired because the emperor himself hired him to serve his master. It's just luck. He will send him where he belongs. The first princess ran to her father and asked if he heard that the duke was carrying Stella down the hall, and before she married him, how dare she interrupted her and said that Karen said that she found her on the street. Where exactly did she find it? She replied that she did not know the name. Don't know, he asked, and sent her away because he did not want to see her. Neither the sun nor the moon could stop the rebellion and restore him to imperial glory. The only thing that could help was a star Stella. We have to get this baby. Anyway, father said. The duke and the girl approached the carriage where their mother was waiting for them with the knights, and said that she could not let her go like that. This is a request, not as an empress but as a mother. 10 years have passed, and they have been very sad all this time. And now she has to get everything as a princess should. The empress turned to her with a request to listen. She is a bad mother, but let her hear before she leaves. Is it a threat or a plea? If the first, then it is in her character, and if the second, then it is simply ridiculous. That child who prayed to his parents has now become only a soulless shell, Stella thought. The girl asked her to leave. Clyde remembered what she had told him earlier. The imperial family won't let her go that easily. Maybe they'll find a reason to keep her, even if they promised him otherwise a long time ago. Clyde looked at the knights and asked the princess if he needed to deal with them. What? She asked. He replied that if the lady wanted it, he would get rid of them, all of them. From everyone? She asked again, and he answered that yes. Suddenly another voice was heard and said that the wedding would take place in 6 months. Stella said the duke shouldn't interfere. It was her business. Their father approached them. He turned to Stella and said that she should not ask unnecessary questions, and if she wanted, he would leave her alone. The father put his hand on her shoulder and added that she herself said that she would be useful to him, so let her stay in the palace. He wants her to become a toy to raise the status of the imperial family. He wants her to pay for the sins of the parents who abandoned their own child. They do not even imagine how much pain their words cause her. A girl can make a decision without a doubt. Stella pushed his hand away and said she had a condition. Father told her to ask for whatever she wanted. Anything? She asked again, and he answered that it was so. She said that after 6 months, wherever she goes and whatever she does, there is no need to look for her. There is only one perfect ending in this game. The duckling princess ran away from the palace and was left alone again. She will be happy with such an ending. Stella told them to forget about her. She would not ask for anything more. The duke and the princess were sitting at the table and drinking tea. Clyde asked if she would return to the tavern in 6 months, and she said no, because it was impossible. The emperor cannot be trusted, so it is not worth staying in the place where she spent her happy days to preserve those memories so that the people dear to her continue to live happily. Sometimes, the brightest colors in our life are the simplest. even her abilities for the imperial family. Stella added that Mr. said that she did not belong to anyone and that he did not need her parents' consent. He confirmed this. The lady asked if he couldn't stay away from her. Then Clyde fell into despair and asked to see her at least once a week, begging her to give him at least this opportunity. As long as she considers him useful, let her be near him. Stella wanted to ask him he had been by her side throughout her childhood. So how could he fight for the imperial family then? Why did he start serving them? The problem is her disturbed feelings. Jason asked Karen why she was so angry, and she said that being called useless was the first time she had been told that Mr. said. And how is she now? The princess said that she did not come here to consult a psychologist. Jay said Stella had heard it all her life. Karen said he seemed to be on her sister's side. Jay replied that he was only on the side of a special client. The princess got angry and asked for it. The gentleman asked if she had heard anything about Stella Idolante's foundation and put a piece of paper on her table. This information also reached the emperor. He was indignant and asked the assistant whether she had given the money. The man confirmed and said that after the foundation of the foundation, Stella gave money to those who lost in the casino. But where did she get so much? Did she really spend funds from the state treasury on these commoners? Did you bribe them? And that cheap act gave her that confidence, said Mr. The gentleman asked who else knew about it. He replied that not much, but rumors are spreading. Is this confidential information? Father asked Peter. He confirmed it. Karen thanked Peter for his trust. He said that the rumors were already widespread among the nobles and thanked Her Majesty for her wisdom, which led him to the course of action. The first thing Stella did was drop a huge amount of money on these aristocrats. Such arrogance drives her crazy. Karen said that Stella is going to leave the palace in 6 months. No one knows what will happen to the sky after that. Peter asked what she was going to do about it, and she said that she had to teach her a lesson as an older sister and first princess. She will show her how to behave with her duties. All this she does for the sake of the state and the imperial family. Long live the great moon of the empire, said Peter. A maid came to Stella and told her that Duke Tarrenhill wanted to see her. Again, she asked. They sat at the table and drank tea. The lady told him that there was already an arrangement for weekly meetings on Mondays. The gentleman confirmed this. And yesterday and the day before, yesterday and today is not Monday. She said, "You don't want to see me?" Mr. asked. Stella thought that this was the problem what he wanted and asked him when he was going to return to the east. Clyde said he wanted to take something with him. He took her by the hand and said that until she became his, he would not go anywhere. They were both embarrassed by this. Stella removed her hand and suddenly asked what time it was. Clyde said that this is a wonderful place called the Holy Land because of its wealth of natural resources, and also a place full of monsters. She added, this man was sent to a far and cold place, all because of his father's cowardice, in fear that he might pose a threat to the imperial power. Stella asked him if he never asked for a reward. The East is the land of artists and aristocrats. It is said that spring is beautiful there, thanks to the numerous flower gardens. In the South, the summer is very hot, and the people are very friendly, so this place is considered the best place to relax. The event is a gathering place for the scientific community and stalled debates, and autumn is very beautiful in those lands. But the gentleman fought bravely and was given the eastern lands. Clyde asked her if she liked the cold. Stella said, not much. Clyde said that it is a wonderful place, and the people there are calm because the climate is cold. The temperament of the people is just as reserved. The girl said that he liked the East so much. Exactly, it's very good there. The Duke asked if the lady would somehow like to visit the eastern lands, and she replied that it would be wonderful. He bent down and whispered something in her ear and went to the carriage. Stella was embarrassed and looked at Mr. with red cheeks. He then said that whenever she entered the eastern lands, he would always be by her side. I could have just said, why shame her so much? Will the Duke come tomorrow too? The next day, is he here again? The lady asked and heard confirmation of this. A man in bright clothes approached them and called himself Jean Basile. he came to sew a dress personally for the princess. Jean said that it was a great honor for him to meet Her Majesty and took her hand and kissed it. Clyde hit him on the arm. Out of jealousy, he whined in pain. Duke asked the lady if there was a meeting planned. Stella said no and didn't invite him. Stella y delante. Her sister shouted. The whole family followed her. As a princess, she should express her love for the people and use the state treasury wisely, she said. She also added that Jean's dresses are very expensive. It might be enough to give money to aristocrats and throw them away. Is Stella giving money to the nobility? Mom asked. Karen told them to ask her. The first princess asked if her father was also interested in this. The check she borrowed from her parents, what did she spend it on? Clyde said he was taking full responsibility. Karen ran up to grab her hand. The girl started to hurt. The first princess told her to tell where the money went. Gathered the whole family in a large hall. She tried hard to win everyone over to her side. But what if she disappears in 6 months? Stella said she spent exactly 10 billion gold. The whole family was shocked. The lady added that she would return everything today. Karen snapped and said why a person needs an education. For her, 1 billion is like all 10. She sees only numbers. Such sums do not grow on trees. Stella asked her sister, who besides Mr. Evandor's, was considered the richest in the empire. Karen yelled at her, saying she had no right to interrupt her. The maid whispered something in the lady's ear. Karen answered that the Duke of Thornhill was the richest if you counted the income from the Great Army and the value of the resources of the East. Her sister interrupted and said that was the wrong answer. Karen added that she may have forgotten about Angelica Lee's. After receiving the inheritance, she has 2,605 trillion gold in her account. Not even close, Stella said, and made her sister even angrier. Stella said that the account of the richest person is 45 trillion gold. Every year, this person receives 20% of the income of the diamond mines. Karen remembered Jay talking about a special client. Really, she thought, there is one common expression. I swear by the diamond mines of Sutherland. Now the diamond mines belong to her. She won a bet from Jason Evanders. You say a person needs an education. I also asked my sister. Stella turned to her sister and said that she did not have one, but she was much better than her, who had received an imperial education all her life. Why was she taught at all? Proudly, the lady left the hall with Clyde. Clyde remembered her talking to her father Rate. He asked her why, and she replied that it was a bet that her parents would abandon her forever. Can Stella y delante return the stars to the sky? Duke wondered, since when she said such painful words, with a calm look. Stella led him to the carriage and said that she did not need to be comforted and said goodbye. Clyde took her hand and kissed it. The girl asked with a smile if he was going to come tomorrow. The gentleman just smiled and answered and got into the transport. Suddenly, the emperor ran up to them with a servant and shouted that he had to tell her something. Stella apologized and began to climb up carriages, which surprised Clyde, and asked him if it was time for them to go already. The father shouted at the others and ordered them to go after her, but they denied that they were already too far and it was impossible. Jay was sitting in his office, writing some letter. An assistant came to him and reported that more and more people were interested in the Stella y delante Foundation. Information is limited and money is already flowing. It attracts people, especially those who are curious about it. Jason said, it should be aristocrats love rumors because their lives are too boring. When their curiosity reaches its limit, they will show it in the highest light to shock them as soon as possible. Everyone's favorite princess is a special client of the Evandor's family. The star of the empire chose them. He turned to his assistant and said that power does not come from nowhere. It comes when the people are interested in it. In this case, the Princess of the Stars is the perfect form of power. The assistant asked if it meant that he had foreseen everything. Jay confirmed this and said that he does not give 20% of his main income just like that, because giving money just like that is the greatest stupidity in the universe. He will create a product that people want to buy as soon as possible. He will be respected even after death. He will create the empire of Evandor's. The assistant said that he was thinking correctly and went to prepare gifts for the princess. Jay said they should be special, wrapped in gold paper. The assistant added that he does not know whether it is worth saying, because it is not certain. Rumor has it that Duke Taranhill has captured Princess Stella. The Duke and the princess were by the sea. Beautiful, really? The girl asked. He confirmed it and added that she had often been here as Ethel, but she did not even think that she would be able to return. She clearly feels more comfortable here than in the palace. Lonely and sad. His blind longing wouldn't wipe the smile off her face, the Duke thought. Stella took off her shoes, saying that you must walk barefoot here. I wanted to touch her. I wanted to hug her. The lady asked him not to tell anyone about this. It was important to her. If he does, she will consider him a monster. Clyde fell into despair and fear. Stella asked him if he was sure he wouldn't tell anyone. He kept silent. The emperor and empress sat on thrones. He asked if it was true, about 45 trillion gold. The assistant confirmed and said that they are kept in the Bank of the Avandors, and the dividends and interest received by it are also in the billions. Father thought she became rich through her personal efforts, unsurpassed. The amount of funds of this person put him in an awkward position many times. The emperors praised it. The aide added that a considerable number of letters are also coming in, wanting to invest money in the fund. The aristocracy in the first ranks of Her Majesty's followers. The father added that she had already won the hearts of the nobility. This is his daughter. The father asked her why and was happy that their daughter had become successful. Mom is not sure that the news is good because there are people who are very valuable to her, and she considers them family. Now that she has a lot of money, she can leave earlier than they expected. She offered to find the people who raised her and ask how she lived and what she loved. Her father was indignant and reminded her of what he had said that day, not to think about it. It's enough to spoil everything. The wife denied that she gave birth to her, but if she says that the empress is not her mother, then what will people think? Nothing is more important now than to win her favor. The father said that their daughter does this because she is a really terrible mother. And again, a quarrel. You can't fix the past, Michelle. It is enough to fill your head with unnecessary things, he said. She countered that he repeats the same thing every time and thinks it doesn't concern him. What did he do to be a good father to her? The first princess overheard them and said to herself that she was tired of it. What is it now that 10 years ago, parents were fighting for the same reason? Stella, Stella, and again, Stella. She remembered the past. As the father said that he was glad that he had such a good daughter, she replied that she would behave well. It was enough for her to hear it at least once. A scene of how the emperor had recently chased her away appeared in her head. What did she deserve such a relationship? Stella fell asleep next to the Duke. He was embarrassed by her beauty and carefully took her face with his hand. She woke up from his touch. The gentleman asked if the lady had already woken up, and she confirmed it. Clyde said they'd better get going before it got dark. The man knelt in front of her and asked her to hold his shoulder. The girl replied that she shouldn't, but he insisted and said that he wanted to do it. He began to put her own shoes on her and added that he would take her to the palace. Stella replied that she had no desire to go back there. Now what? He asked. The lady said that she ran away from there and he was her accomplice, so she asked him to shelter her. For one night, Clyde was stunned by what he heard. He clearly did not expect this. They arrived at his estate. The master asked the servant to prepare a room for her guest. Stella saw a luxurious piano in the middle of the hall and immediately ran up to it, thinking that this was it. She began to remember the past, namely, how the servant brought this piano to her room when she was still young. They explained that Princess Karen had given it to her because there was one key missing, and she was sorry to throw it away. Stella was surprised by the gift from her sister. The girl was sitting at the piano, and the older brother smiled sweetly and patted her on the head and said that she played it very well. Stella was the only one who tried her best to show it. Stella noticed that someone must be playing it at home. Clyde denied this, as no one had been until now. This is a broken thing from the palace. It must have been difficult to save. The gentleman said that he was the first to enter the ruined estate. They brought the piano out of that chaos, she thought, and remembered what Mr. had told her recently. Such a strange feeling appeared inside her. It seems that he is not an imperial swordsman at all, not a hero of revival, and not a protector of the heavens, but just her young childhood friend, the same Clyde. The Duke asked her to play him something. Let it be so, even knowing that he went to great lengths for the sake of the Emperor, that it was because of him that she could not meet her relatives. Stella began to play. The gentleman was moved and remembered their sweet childhood, how she used to play him incredible melodies. The lady saw an exquisite landscape painted on the entire ceiling. It was incredibly beautiful. Who did it? Someone knocked on the door. It was Clyde, dressed in a single black robe and gray trousers, standing with a candle in his hands. He said he just wanted to know if she liked the room. Stella replied that she really didn't even want to leave here. Clyde said he was glad he could please her. Stella said that she had never seen such ceilings. Usually the landscapes depict ordinary people very beautiful and cozy. She would like to see if there are other interesting places in the corridor. They went for a walk in the corridor. She examined everything that was there, ideal for playing hide and seek. And the garden is so big that you can even run around there. As a child, she always said that she wanted to live in such a house. Did he remember everything? Clyde said that he ordered all this. He also dreamed of living like this. The Duke put his hands on Stella's shoulders and said that she came here for their wedding. Rumors will spread. She replied that she knew and would immediately get on the front page of the magazine Daily Velvet, a favorite publishing house of aristocrats. Clyde asked if she was going to be okay, and she said she didn't care about them and knew it would be nice to have their favor. But Stella is not going to bow her head to them. She touched the gentleman's bare torso with her hand, which made him very embarrassed and made his cheeks red, saying that before they saw each other, he had time to injure himself because he had many scars on his chest. Evan Dors's assistant ran after the editor and shouted that he did not dare to break into the master like that, but he did not listen to him. He called himself Hector Selvash and arrived with interesting news. Jason asked if she was really that important. Hector said that Stella Adelante was spending the night with a stranger. The gentleman smoked a cigar. Stella remembered how the master had given her the best room, or rather his own, because it was the most comfortable. But it seems that he did not think that the lady would sleep on his bed. She has some doubts about Clyde. He was far from greedy and power-hungry, so he definitely wouldn't have gone to the east without important reasons. His resistance slaves commoners needed new land plots, but Clyde took everyone with him and headed east. On dry land, far from utopia, what force forced him to make such a decision? At first, she thought it was attachment. The imperial family accepted and began to provide for him in childhood. In order to restore his powers, they even gave him the title of Duke. However, he continued to act in defiance of the Emperor's order when he carried her in his arms, not where he said, as if she is much more important than His Majesty. Chaos must have started in the palace. Now maybe tomorrow it will become the #1 scandal. Hector told Mr. that right now he will prepare the release for the front page. He is sure that it will become a sensation. Daily Velvet shares will definitely grow and sales will increase. Jay asked about what might not be worth doing. This is Princess Stella, he shouted, and added that now there is nothing more important than her in the whole empire. If the master publishes what the lady spent with Taryn Hill, then Jay interrupted him and said that how much longer should he listen to these boring stories? Hector apologized and said he made a deal. Jason took out his pocket watch and said that it took 5 minutes and 38 seconds off his time, and added that he was old and had no inspiration. Isn't it time to vacate his position? In the Evandor's empire, Daily Velvet is an important and reliable mainstay. Hector worked so hard to become the editor-in-chief. Mr. Jason took him by the collar and threatened that he would have to try. Selvish agreed and promised that he would. Jay added that if he saw even one article about Stella Idolante, he would personally deal with him. "How can you complain?" he replied cowardly. The gentleman added that he wanted to convey something to the imperial family and began to reach into the green box and took out a letter. Jason told him to give it to the Empress and say it was from him. The Empress and the first princess were sitting at the table. The mother asked how she was doing. The daughter replied that she was fine as always. Michelle said that she does not change. Karen asked what she meant. The mother told her to stop lying about finding Stella on the street. The princess was indignant. The woman said that she did not want to harm that family, but only to ask and thank her, namely about her daughter's life and what she loves. Karen doesn't want to lie to her and says she doesn't know for sure because she can't miss Stella's one weakness. Mother asked why she does this, because she is kind. The princess did not know where the children were and said that she was not lying. Michelle ordered her to get out of here. Karen assured herself that she had to endure only 6 months. If he left her alone, she would return there. She came from there without even marrying the Duke. Jean called her and said that it was a great honor to meet her. His Sile collection is very popular among girls. Karen confirmed that she had heard about it. Dresses from Basel are widespread for their luxury and many precious stones. His brand is preferred by many aristocrats. He handed her an envelope. She asked what it was. This invitation he was waiting for, the moment to give her, because she gave him inspiration. Karen grabbed the letter and said she would definitely think about it. He denied it and said that it was a letter for her sister, not for herself. Karen was very angry because of what she heard. Jean added that it was a great honor for him to meet her, and the economy is very important, and she is not interested in his dresses. The princess let him go and said she would take him to Stella. Karen thought, so she is a thrifty princess, loved by everyone and kind unlike them, lovers of luxury. Jean walked up to the girl with long black hair and heavenly eyes. It was his beloved Angelica Lies. But she asked if he met the second princess and gave her the letter. He said that it was successful and even managed to introduce himself. Jean thought that just looking at her inspired him, and he needed to finish the collection as soon as possible. She said that she was jealous of him because everyone wanted to see her, and the lady was no exception. Thanks to the foundation, most of her losses were reduced. She is her savior. Jean said that the second princess is very noble and intelligent, which attracts even more attention to herself. Angelica said very good news. Will she be able to become friends with her? Jean asked if she wanted to be friends with her. Lisa replied that she would not have the courage. So many men want to benefit from marrying her. All these people became her eyes and ears, but she knows that they only need her money and she cannot drive them away. Lisa said that she is very noble, and I think they will become friends. So it is said, John. Very soon she will be able to meet her in secular society with her savior. Daisy was drawing herself and her sister in the sand, and 3 men were standing behind her and definitely wanted to do something bad. Suddenly someone threw an axe in front of them. It hit a tree. The guards of the tavern approached them and asked what kind of fools they were. They were lying on the ground from shock. Are they dead? The black-haired one asked. The blonde-haired one said no, and there was ketchup on his shirt. He heard them talking about the palace and the kidnapping palace. Did you ask the redhead? He was sent for the pigeon, the princess must know. Jason wrote to the magazine, Daily Velvet, and said that all the stories were exclusively about Stella. There is a reason why people admire her, small and barely noticeable, a distant star, burning for all, the only one who heard people's voices, a compass that guides the empire in the right direction, guide of the sun and moon, creator of the stars. Everyone wanted her to return when the empire was in difficult times, and she listened to people's prayers, illuminating the heavens with light, an heiress of the stars who regained her powers after 20 years. A true revival of imperial power with Stella. Stella walked over to Jason unexpectedly and raised her hand. He stopped her. A good joke, he said. The girl asked how he dared to tell the emperor about her family. Jay thought that the rumor had really gotten to her. If that was the case, he would have really been slapped in the face. The gentleman offered her tea and added that she didn't like the one she had last time, so he ordered new varieties. Will you try? He asked. Even in such a situation, he portrays nobility itself. Jay asked why she thought he was the one who leaked the information about her family. What kind of audacity to use an informal manner in a conversation with a princess? The girl said that at first suspicion fell on Karen, but it turned out not to be her. Jay replied that it was definitely not him then, because he and she were very close friends, and asked if the lady considered him worse than her sister. Stella told him not to change the subject. "Dear customer, Karen is too cunning," said Mr. The lady replied that her sister was not so foolish as to do such a thing, and said that she knew that his henchman had been with the Empress. Jay asked if she already had her people in the palace. The girl continued that the lady sent the prince to find out where her family lived, and the gentleman pretended not to know anything. Why would he do that? Jay said he wanted to say it was a simple misunderstanding. Stella replied that she couldn't stand it when she couldn't get through to the interlocutor on the first try. The lady said she thought he could be trusted, at least in matters of money. He keeps her family's addresses a secret, and she becomes his special client. That was their agreement, but he broke it. What caused this behavior? Business, Jay thought, and questioned himself about it. Now she was going to talk to him as an entrepreneur. Jay said that if he is just a businessman for her, then their deal has no meaning, because he couldn't do it on purpose, because he knew that he would completely lose her trust, and told her to send a letter before coming. Next time, the gentleman will pretend that today's conversation did not take place. Jason said she was his special client, but he valued time, especially his own, and said it was about time. "I swear by my diamond mines," Stella said. "Annoyed that your property was taken away," she continued. Clyde was standing with a group of men in front of the castle. It was raining, so they were wearing black raincoats. They said that if the lady found out that he was following her, she would definitely not like it. Pan remembered the look on her face when she received the letter from the guards. It was the first time he had seen her like this. Clyde told the boys that he just wanted to make sure she was safe. Jay asked her what she wanted to bet on. Stella replied that she was betting he was the one who revealed her family's address. He asked what her reward would be. "Knees," she said. "If he loses, he must kneel before her." Jay asked how she would prove it. "Daily Velvet." Stella said she had spent the night at Thornhill Manor yesterday and thought it would be strange if Mr. had missed such a headline. However, this full-page article is nothing but fiction. There were many witnesses to how she left with the Duke to his estate. In addition, the gentleman is now selling his information quite expensively, but at the same time there is no page about the princess, because someone prevented it. Who is that person who holds in his hands the entire press of the empire, and at the same time himself once suffered from rumors? With this news, he blocked the rumor about her and the Duke. Daily Velvet Jason Evanders gave Princess Stella Idolante the blessing of the Naiad. Here's the proof. Businessman, she turned to him. She understood everything after seeing this article. Stella confidently asked whether he needed it or not. For Jason Evanders, the princess was the best reward. Despite the size of her stake, the diamond mines still belong to the investor. But before getting the result, the man left the Evan doors. This opportunity becoming the bridegroom of the princess, Stella said that this case was a test and a warning, because he respected her authority. What income will it bring him? Does she know his desires and capabilities, or should he be tested in a similar way? "If you understand me, get on your knees," she said. It was he who revealed her family's address to the emperor. Jason got up and knelt before. The lady took her hand and kissed it, raised his head, and smiled sweetly. Stella noticed that he looked too pleased. Was this sort of thing his hobby? Jay said that he does not kneel before anyone, but he respects Her Majesty so much that he is ready to go for it. Stella waved his hand away and said it was ridiculous. Pan replied that he admired her determination and added that it was no wonder that she increased the significance of the Evandors, and he wanted to be with her Stella asked, "And what does she have to be happy about now?" Jay asked her not to be angry, because there was still an article about the necklace. He decided to show it to his father and family members. They will judge him if he gives money to someone. Pan said that the princess was leaving this place in exactly 6 months. It's a shame she'll be going as a duke's wife. How did he know that she was going? His ability to get information was terrifying, Stella thought. Instead of going, he started, would she like to become the head of the empire? What? Movila and Jay told her to take the emperor's place, and he would help her do it. Will the ruler's place be hers? The lady asked. Gold, the size of diamond mindset, would be enough to make a beautiful picture with its image. His family will be touched, and he will become the empress's right-hand man. Being an assistant to the empress would be great for her, wouldn't it? Jay asked, and continued that if he follows his plan, if he allows him to help, he will become a loyal colleague. Stella laughed, running her hand down his torso and saying that sounds tempting. Viscount Jason Evanders, but she added that she doesn't know how to value his family, and before risking her money, shouldn't she be sure of his worth? Why should the owner take the dog that bit him? Jason was stunned by what he heard, and the lady stood in front of him very pleased. Jason told his assistant that he wanted to help the princess become the empress. He replied that he would support any decision he made, but asked why. Pan said that the current emperor is under the influence of the Evanders, of course because of money. The aide said that he believed that if they put the wise Princess Stella in this place, then their family would be at a loss. Really? It's a good thing she's not interested in power, Jason said. But how did he come to this? Asked the assistant. The man replied that he did not know what else to do to get her. His desire to own her far outweighs her need for his business. The assistant told him to start acting. This is exactly in the spirit of the Evanders. Jason slumped back onto the couch and tiredly straightened his blonde hair. Stella Evanders. It was raining. Stella was heading to the carriage with an umbrella, but she definitely felt something was not clean. Clyde and his group were still watching her, and when they saw that everything was fine, they left. The butler asked the lady if something had happened, but she denied it. The girl looked out the window and thought she knew for sure it couldn't be him. Clyde will definitely be surprised by how quickly she ran away and didn't even thank me for the night. It's all because of Jason Evanders. It's Stella's fault too. Carefree. It was she who endangered her parents. And Daisy. Stella was walking around the palace. Her sister called her and took her by the hand and led her to another room. Karen excused herself by what the editor of Evanders had said about her family and replied that she understood. Karen continued and said that why should she tell about her sister's family? She doesn't look like a fool. Why are you so scared? The girl asked. What? The answer came. Stella said she would soon enter the mundane world and celebrate her return. Is she afraid that he will reveal her true nature? How dare you say that? The sister asked. Stella said that she should continue to be afraid until she tells everyone the truth. Karen doesn't know what it's like to lose something important, so let him continue to be afraid. Her sister countered that if everyone found out about the deal, everyone would be disappointed in her. Everyone knows that Princess Stella Idolante is an incredibly beautiful girl, but if they find out about the contract, they will understand that she was abandoned and brought shame on her family. And what of the fact that she will disappoint them? Karen was indignant and said that she would lose everything because of this. Stella confidently said that why then of the two of them, she was the only one who risked the least losses. Tirelessly suffers from fear. If she does, that Karen will become her enemy. She said that she better stop trusting such people as Jason Evanders and let her be grateful that she tells her this. Stella replied that she knew it even without her. Karen said, no, and it wasn't. She doesn't know anything at all. Jason was playing cards with his husband. He shouted that the gentleman had already won for the 10th time in a row, and that this was a fraud. He gets whatever he wants, a common thing for Evanders, isn't it? The opponent got scared and agreed with him. The player said that he plays with people as he likes. That's right, it's obvious. If he wants something, he takes it, the gentleman thought. The gentleman opened the chest with the ornament and the letter. It said that the sender is sending the necklace back. Corrections need to be made. Shall I not embarrass the Viscount if I come in person? It was written there. I wonder what will happen if he gets her feelings, Jay said. Stella wanted to know about her family. Daisy is learning to count. She is good at addition, but not good at subtraction. Hans is repairing the fence. The workers work very quickly. It won't take long. It's because of those mercenary assassins from the palace that shouldn't bother them. She wants to make sure for herself that they are all right. Someone shouted that the child of the sun is coming. Brother Joseph approached her and said that he had to explain himself. 10 years ago, they played hide-and-seek rock, scissors, paper. He said that he was driving and she was hiding. The prince is like a hero from a fairy tale, gentle, fair, and wonderful. He was kind to everyone. He remembered how he closed his eyes when she started to hide. No one paid attention to her except him. But that day, the prince never looked for her. The next day, Joseph came to her with a flower and apologized because he was busy. He asked if she forgives him. Stella said, of course, her most beautiful little brother. His love was salvation for her. The brother said that probably the group that went to her family disturbed the guests. He thought that she would be the first to come to him for an explanation, but he himself came to her. Their mother, his sister, interrupted him. Stella said that it is not worth it and let him go back to where he came from. The prince was surprised and said that he understood that it was difficult for her and asked him to listen to him because if he finds out the reason why mother sent a military outfit. Stella asked that if he apologized to her, she should feel better. You may not even try, because not everything in this life can be fixed. The brother said that she was much more perceptive than he thought. He knows that those people are valuable to her, interrupted Yogi. How do you know? The lady asked. From her father who told her about her letter, or from her mother who spread information from the Evandors and mercenary assassins. From mom, they needed information from the Evandors, right? Joseph said that the outfit was sent to gather everyone in the palace. Her father ordered her not to get involved in these matters, but she could not stay on the sidelines. Stella replied that it seems like she just wanted to get rid of the mistake. The brother shouted that how dare she talk like that? It's her mother. The girl waved his hand away and said that she had abandoned her. The prince denied that his mother was very sorry for it. The princess said that she was angry at this. What kind of pity is such that complicates her life? How much can you use it? Are you right, my sister? The prince asked her wonderful brother. She said Joseph said that everything was true and that he was her brother. Stella said he was too desperate to make excuses for the uninitiated. Not only her mother abandoned her. That day, Joseph Idolante is a cruel witness. 10 years ago they left, during which time they became cold-blooded and cruel. Her sweet and obedient little sister, after which she disappeared. Now their love is not worth a penny to her, so let them keep their regrets to themselves. The maids combed Stella's hair and brought her a letter. It was from Jean Basil. The envelope was bright pink. Maybe I should have brought it to her later. It seems that she is not in the mood. No. Has something happened? The maids talked among themselves. She was told that she had guests. Is that Clyde? After all, on the day of entry, she didn't say anything, and he is probably very worried that's why he came. But it was not the Duke, but Jason Evanders. The gentleman asked her not to worry, as he had come to personally discuss her request, Princess Stella. Idolante refused to accept the Naiad's blessing from the Evandors. Jason's testimony was unreciprocated. The gentleman said that as soon as he saw this article, he immediately rushed to it. How cute, said the lady coldly. He wants to make sure of everything personally. Stella replied that if so, then she can go from here. She started to walk away, but Jay grabbed her arm. Stella ordered him to remove his hands. The man apologized and said that he did not think, and asked her to remember that if last time he obeyed because of money, now because of sincere sympathy. Stella replied that it was possible, but as if there was a clause in their contract about sharing her in scandals. Jason said that there was no question of a ban either. Stella said that she would ask for corrections from other media, because he is not the only one who can correct such a thing. Jason said that the Daily Velvet controls all media. "Out of the way," said the lady. Jason took her hand and placed it against his chest and said that he meant no harm, as she knew he had affection for her. It seems to be something to be proud of. If he spoiled her mood, then she can use his affection for any purpose. Stella thought that after doing something terrible, it was so easy to make amends. She said it was his style. When she meets her mother, she will throw all her indignation at her because the lady did such a rude thing to her beloved prince. Stella told the maids that she would go on her own. She doesn't belong here, but she can't go to her house or the living room. Then where should she go? Stella came to the stables and was dressed in a black robe with a hood, but she thanked the horse for the fact that, although he rarely comes here, he always recognizes her. "Hey, you can't do that," someone shouted. "Is it Mom or Dad?" But it was Clyde, and he asked what she was doing here. The girl took off her hood, and he saw her red tears and realized that she had been crying. Who dared to insult her? Pan put his palm on her face. Stella asked him to pretend she wasn't here. He said he was trying. Clyde hugged her tightly. The girl asked if something happened. "What happened?" he asked. The lady said they would pretend they didn't know anything. Clyde thought I would like to ask her right now, what is her relationship with Jason, and what she thinks about him, and what about the Duke himself. Most of all, he wants to know how she feels about him. Stella said she was about to suffocate. Clyde immediately released her from his arms. He was scared. Now her smile is much more important. The girl said that she wanted to go somewhere and asked to take her there. Clyde said he would follow her anywhere, and he took a strand of her hair and brought it to his lips. They were both dressed in black robes. They came to her former house. "Really beautiful?" the lady asked. She wants this kind of place, to always be here in this place. The girl really felt alive. Aunt Mary told her the story of this tavern, about the fact that this house was built by their grandmother, and she does not know how long it will stand. This building is twice as old as her. The woman said that her mother-grandmother, great-grandmother, and great-great-grandmother rested here. Mary held the little princess in her arms and said that she needn't worry because it didn't matter to them where she came from and under what circumstances. Now the girl has become part of her family. Stella said it was time to go back. Clyde asked if she wanted to meet them. The lady protested that she did not want to repay them with disasters for their kindness. If because of her presence, here stupid rumors will affect them, then she will have to say, "Because of me, you are now in danger. Pack your things and run as fast as possible. From here, you don't need to stay here." The girl was sad and thought that she did not want them to regret that they sheltered her in the past. She wants their life to be as it was before she appeared. That will be enough. "This is wrong for them," said Mr. "What?" asked the lady. "When a beloved child to whom they are ready to pass on a family heirloom meets with trouble, then everyone else suffers as well. Running away is not a solution," Clyde said. The Duke added that he was sure if we were talking about the princess, he knew she would do everything in her power to protect them. "Hey, Mouse!" The company of boys and girls who surrounded the lady's little and defenseless sister rang out, "Daisy." Stella thought, "What did I do?" said the prince. He hurt a child who needed his love, and how can he now regain her trust? The coronation will take place soon. "Stella, don't you want to come with me?" My brother thought about it. The company asked that her sister had run away. Another girl denied that she had been sold. Daisy screamed that it wasn't true. Someone said that they live on this money. The little sister almost cried and said that it was all a lie and that Ethel had gone because she was a princess. The girl from the company said that if her sister is a princess, then she herself should be more vigilant. Could it be that the lady who came back is her family? She definitely did not go to another country. She is either dead or enslaved and now serves her master. Children's voices rang out. Stella was outraged by these statements and was ready to go to them, but Clyde stopped her by taking her hand. Things are so bad in the tavern, aren't they? Let him ask his lying mother if it is true that she sold her own daughter. The company asked the children. Clyde approached them and addressed Mrs. Daisy. He knelt before her and said that Princess Ethel had sent him, and that she must return to the palace urgently, and that he must convey something from her. He turned to the company and said that if she were not far away, she would always miss her home and family. Everyone wondered if it was true. Daisy asked if it was true. She looked like a princess from a fairy tale. To the same one who brings luxurious dresses and elegantly drinks tea. Clyde confirmed this and added that Ethel herself was noble and beautiful. The Duke handed her gold coins with a green bow and said they were from her. Daisy shouted to the company that her sister really is a princess. The little girl asked the knight to tell her that they miss her very much and love her. Clyde agreed. Stella was standing behind the tree and heard everything. Her eyes were full of tears. The gentleman said that as a representative of Her Highness, if this happens again, he will teach them a lesson. So let them think about their behavior. All the children were very frightened, apologized, and ran away. Clyde asked if anything was wrong, to which the lady said she wanted to check on something. They entered the magazine tent. Stella took one of them and asked the seller if it was all the news about the princess. The man said yes. The lady added that there was not enough detail in this portrait of the princess. The man asked what they wanted to find out, how he knew about high society magazines. Stella asked if he was talking about the Daily Velvet. There is no portrait there either. The man said that he thinks so, and if they are not going to buy, then let them leave. When he looked at the girl again, he seemed to realize something. They had already started to leave, and that seller called them. Clyde glared at him, and he fell silent. They got into the carriage. The second princess apologized for holding him back. Clyde replied that it was fine, and it was worth it. The Duke put his hand on the lady's face and said that she was very red. Stella pulled away and thanked him for today and for protecting Daisy and giving her those words. It was nice of him. Stella pulled his hand and kissed him sweetly on the cheek. Clyde was maddened by this act. The girl thanked him once again. Daisy fell asleep right on the table. Mary said that from the moment Ethel left home, she began to have trouble sleeping, and now she sleeps very sweetly. Those bullies threatened her, and that night protected her. Mary said that the little girl was so cute, holding the coins that the master had given her, and remembered how she had kept them at dinner, even though her parents had asked her to put them away, and she said that they were her treasure. The woman pushed the man and said that it was Daisy who hit him. They put Daisy to bed, Mary said. Whoever that gentleman was, she was very grateful to him for it. And the little one said she had seen him before. Perhaps this is the knight that Ethel was looking for earlier. His journey was long and tiring. Previously, the girl could only see his armor. I wonder what her reaction was when she saw him completely. She thought about it too. The man said that Ethel would be back soon. And even if not, they will still love her and always remember her. Mary cried a lot and said that she wanted to see her at least once more. Their daughter, Jason, was sitting on the couch smoking a cigar when someone walked in on him. It was Stella. The gentleman said that he did not expect to see her and told her to come. Stella asked him to remove this disgusting stench. Jason stubbed out his cigar and got up to open the windows. The girl said that people do not know anything. The gentleman bowed and asked what she was saying. The lady said that for 10 years, no one even guessed that she was a princess, but she lived and looked like an ordinary person. Moreover, the people involved in the foundation know almost nothing about Karen's family. Jay said she should have told her earlier. In this country, information is published only after its verification. The lady snapped that there was no need to remind her. She knew it even without him. The gentleman asked what she wanted to tell him. Stella asked how long he was going to hide everything, because the girl would be a much more valuable unit if this information was available to more faces. It seems that her greed has awakened, thought the gentleman, and asked if she wants to lift the ban. On the contrary, she answered what? A reply came from Jay. Stella said she wanted to make an announcement about her foundation. In addition, all her personal information, as well as her past, must remain undisclosed. The gentleman went mad after hearing this. Jason asked why she didn't want her parents to know that she was living in the palace, and she wanted to hide the fact that Ethel and Stella were the same person. Because if the adoptive parents find themselves at the court, they will be involved in conflicts, and this will put their lives in danger. It is enough for the Empire to find out that the princess has a foster family. Then immediately around some will be assigned for their lives. Stella said that she was glad because they understood each other. That's what it is, all for the sake of the family. The gentleman thought, he said that he would do everything to satisfy her request. And she's really into it, Jay noticed to himself. Stella hopes that he won't betray her this time. Pan stood up and held out his hand to her. The girl said that she should not be escorted because she was not a nice lady. The girl went to her room and saw a box on the table with a note saying that she was late. Joseph came in and said that he was waiting for her because he wanted to give it in person. He opened it with a key. It turned out to be a music box. It means a lot to her. Joseph was always in the center of attention, because of which he did not have enough time for her. She was often sad. The girl waited for his return in the room. The little girl was sleeping in the corner of the room. Her brother called her and asked if she was waiting for him here again. Stella said that she dreamed that she had a debut, and he was her partner. Would it be great if that were true? The prince agreed and said he wanted to show her something. It was the same casket. He couldn't find the toys they used to play with 10 years ago, but he remembered the tune and asked the craftsman to make it. My brother had been thinking about it since the day he became a prince again. Joseph said that she was probably no longer interested in such gifts. A prince who only puts on a mask of humility but will not seriously bow his head to anyone. This is how he apologizes. Joseph grabbed his red hair and said that he shouldn't have said that that day he was thinking only of himself, and touched her and added that mom really wanted to be close to her again and he wouldn't ask her to make concessions. Stella said she understood him. The brother stopped her and took her hand and said that he didn't even have a chance to fix everything. He asked if she remembers how she always asked to become her partner. She always said that you don't need luxurious dresses and shoes from designers, but only what she drew herself. Stella said she was touched to be with the prince. Her brother was very happy, but she added that she already had a chaperone, and it wasn't him. The brother was horrified. It was unexpected for him. It's getting late for both you and me to rest, Stella said. She herself is surprised by how indifferent she can be. Jason's father was outraged that the princess dared to refuse his son. He told the loser to stand up because it was in his newspaper that the lady trampled him. He shouted that he was most concerned about the reputation of the Evandors. And now, "Father, I lost," he said. Did he not just lose something but also lose? Mr. asked. Jay repeated that the princess had won. He was intimidated. The ability to accept defeat is also very difficult, especially in his position, he said. Finally, his son learned the taste of defeat. He will have to thank the princess. Jay was shocked. The man asked who would better organize the ceremony. It is not for nothing that he is responsible for the affairs of the family. Now he is even more interested in the personality of the lady who was able to defeat him. And what does he do? We need to make an appointment with her urgently. So his father could not sit in the office when he took care of Licia. Jay countered that he had a lot to do. Father told him to present it. Jay said he understood him. The gentleman changed into a fancy blue suit and looked through the coins in his pocket and was nervous. The maids said that half an hour had already passed, and time was more precious than gold to the Evandors. I wonder who he is waiting for. Maybe her best friend, Lady Karen. The maids questioned each other, but suddenly, Her Highness Stella, the second princess of the Empire, arrived. Jay met her and told her that she was late. They sat down at the table, and the lady said that he should be grateful to her because no one had warned her about this meeting. Pan said that now they are flowers. Stella said that he knows that she is not a lady and does not follow the rules of high society. But he is an aristocrat. Jay noted in his mind that she said it with a pure Belvite accent. Only 3/10 of the population can speak like this. It can be called a distinctive feature of aristocrats. Possession of this accent is directly related to a person's origin. Jason said that he had an offer he would help her become a debutante and asked to allow her to be introduced to influential people. The girl was surprised by what she heard and looked at the man inexplicably. Clyde got out of the bath and remembered how Stella kissed him on the cheek. He approached the table with the box containing the gorgeous necklace and wondered if he had the right to offer her his escort. An assistant came to him and said that he was waiting for business. Clyde chased him away, but he didn't leave. Peter was with a Sinhalese on his right eye and brought him food and wished him good morning. He asked that Mr. seems to be in a good mood today. Was the meeting with the princess successful? He asked. At least there would be some benefit from his information. A little earlier, they were in Mr.'s office. Clyde asked how he got here because he was fired. Peter Gilworth explained that he said he came back from vacation and was missed and had important information. Clyde grabbed the assistant by the collar and dragged him across the room. Peter shouted that the master had a competitor. He came to the princess again this morning and left her in a bad mood. Peter said that he is far from useless and the master should admit it. The assistant can give him any information if he returns him to work. Clyde punched him in the face. Peter asked Mr. if he would hire him. Clyde replied that he did not need the prince's dog. The aide denied that he had long since removed his collar. He admitted that he worked for 2 people at the same time, but admitted that Joseph had lost his mind. The first princess does not resemble him in any way. Only Stella has true power. Peter said that he was not interested in serving the prince, but his career, and he would be much more successful if he was his master's assistant. His intentions are pure. He asked to believe. Clyde replied that he got the address wrong because he had no ambitions. Peter said that he knew this when he was about to come to the master and told him not to worry, that he would ask him to take the throne. The gentleman handed over the letter where it was said, Host, Clyde Thornhill. Employee, Peter Gilworth. Term, for life. If the employee betrays the master, he will be executed. If he lies, his mouth will be open. If he does something without permission, he will lose both hands. This is an inadequate contract, he said. Clyde said he signed it himself at 10 years old, and it held him back admirably. Peter shouted that it does not fit into any framework. The gentleman said he didn't like it. The door was open. The assistant said that the gentleman did not know what information he came to him with. Clyde agreed to listen to him, and after that, he would judge for himself whether it was of any use. A haven for adventurers, this place was recently attacked by unknown creatures. He said Clyde was stunned by what he heard. Fortunately, there are no serious losses, and the asylum continues to do business. But a few days before that, Viscount Evander sent a letter to the Empress. He thinks that the letter referred to the princess's adopted family. Clyde slammed his fist on the table in anger. Peter said that rumors spread too fast, so these people are in danger. They should get to them before others. The assistant added that the debut and other matters are not so important. Clyde took off his robe and told him to prepare the carriage and said that they were going to the damned Jason Evander's. The woman told Karen that Mr. Evandors was coming here today to meet Princess Stella. He hopes for good relations with her as business partners, and the first princess is his close friend. However, if Stella refuses the offer, then the sponsorship funds of the Evandors, which go to the account of the royal family every month. Karen thumped her cup on the table. The emperor plans to arrange a festive coronation of the second princess. It is said that almost all the money from the imperial treasury went to this, but Stella's debut is still coming soon. It looks like her father isn't going to give up, and that didn't surprise her at all. What? The woman asked. Karen said she was tired and asked Mrs. Fairfax to step, but she agreed and left. Karen read the letter. A new star is rising in the social circles of Belvitz. They have reasons to look at Stella as a debutante. When one sister is ready to do anything for the sake of the family, and the younger one, regardless of the situation, chooses dresses for herself. Please leave this world, Karen said angrily to herself, so no one else could hear her. This is Renaissance clothing. Jean Basile, simply necessary for this period. His clients have never been dissatisfied. His dresses will knock every lady off her feet. Even aristocrats of other countries buy them. Stella said that they are really beautiful, but they are impossible to wear. They will be too uncomfortable. Jean thought, what a picky guest he had found. The movement of the hands is limited, the chest is compressed, and it will be very difficult to breathe in such a situation. He thought what a specific taste she has. Maybe it's a mental disorder. Jean said that it was very interesting. And would she have any wishes after all? She does not know much about fashion, but she knows for sure that she would like to wear a comfortable dress. Stella looked through Jean's catalog. This needs to be removed here. It needs to be shortened a little. What do you think? The lady asked. Jean sat on the floor and cried. This is just a sensation. Even he could not think of such a thing. Jason sat in his office and thought, according to the rules of etiquette, a girl should remain silent until her partner introduces her. Such are the accepted norms for ladies. She had no reason to refuse him. Of course, escorting as a partner is much more important than the services of a prince. But still, why Stella refused and left after that? Jay asked if she would tell the reason. She said she didn't need to. This cannot be. She must have a reason. Is it because of that guy? The assistant opened the door and said that guests had come to him. The gentleman said that he hadn't made any appointments at this time. This is the Duke of Thornhill. Unexpectedly. What people? And without warning, Jay spoke and held out his hand and told them to shake hands. First, Clyde asked how he knew about the princess's adoptive family. I have completely lost my fear of aristocrats, thought Evan Dors. Jason said that if he knew everything, he would be honest. To begin with, it is worth noting their relationship with the lady. The princess is his client, and all the more special. The man was wiping his hands with a piece of cloth. Jay said that they were sometimes written about in the magazine, and then added that he had forgotten that the Duke couldn't read and dropped the rag on purpose. Clyde said he asked how he knew about the Foster family. Jason shrugged his shoulders and said he couldn't say that because it was personal information for his special client. He has no right to tell this to the first person he meets. Clyde asked him to clarify the situation and said that first of all, he could read which Princess Stella had taught him 10 years ago. Jay was surprised that they had known each other 10 years ago. Second, the Duke continued, he doesn't guarantee clients' confidentiality and doesn't bother himself at all. And that is why the information reached the Empress. Jason said that since he had come this far, he would only have one excuse. How could Ethel, who worked in an ordinary tavern, become Princess Stella in a day? She did it to protect her poor family. Protect from whom? Clyde asked. Jason said what, and really from whom? From a duke who solves every problem by force, or an emperor? The knight caught the anxiety from his words. Evan Dors continued, now the princess stands at the top of the empire. Money, influence, love of the people, all she has, but very soon this sandcastle will break if she is not given a hand. And how can he help her? The Duke asked. And cracks appeared on the table under his hand. Jay was pleased to get him emotional and told him to think about it. Evan Dors added that he is a bastard, a revolutionary, an enemy of aristocrats. Then who is he to the princess? A simple mold, spoiling the sweet fruits of her new life. The Duke was heading to his room. On the way he met Peter, and he was not jokingly frightened by his look. He was beside himself with anger. Something dark red was dripping from his hand. It was all covered in this substance. Suddenly, someone knocked on him. He was very scared. Now I opened the door and saw Stella there. She said that today is Monday, and that's why she came to him. They were sitting on the couch. Stella worked on his hand and said that she was going to vaccinate and had to be patient. It must hurt. It pains him to see how worried her face looks. Stella asked where he got hurt. Like that, the wound was deep and covered in splinters. Clyde thought she was trying so hard to breathe life into him. And he, did you do it on purpose? Asked the Duke. The lady thought that the gentleman must not want to talk about it. The girl said that not a day went by that she did not have to treat Daisy's wounds. She wrapped his arm and a bandage. and happily said that everything was ready. Clyde put his hand on her face and said that he wanted to go somewhere with her. Really, Stella thought, and asked where he wanted to go. Does he want to choose her as a partner? Clyde said that if she didn't mind, he would get the carriage ready right now, she asked. Daisy asked her father when he would finish reading the book to her. He said that he would sweep up now and continue. The little one snatched the broom from his hands and said that she could not wait, and now she would do everything herself. They came to see her foster family. Stella said they seemed to be fine without her. Clyde asked if she was upset. The girl said the opposite. She was afraid to visit them because she thought that it was difficult for them. But now she sees that everything is fine. Stella thanked him for bringing her here. The girl looked happy. They were walking in the garden and saw two children. They themselves have many memories from childhood. She taught Clyde to write, and he wrote her name most often. This is her only friend, and also the reason for which she returned to the Emperor. Stella wants to ask what kind of relationship they are in. Why did he stop looking for her 10 years ago? Clyde handed her a green box with gorgeous earrings. The gentleman explained that he kept looking at that window and bought it anyway. He was told it was the most expensive item in the store, certainly not as luxurious as her emerald necklace. It returned to her a long time ago. The lady said that the gift was not so desirable. Clyde said that necklace meant more to her than his humble gift. Stella said she wouldn't accept it from that person. The girl said that she liked these earrings very much when she was Ethel. All she had of silver was a bowl and a candlestick. Stella asked him to help put them on. He put them on and said that she was incredibly beautiful. Clyde asked her to be careful on the way home and thanked her for spending time with him. Stella said it was fun and thanked her for the gift. Stella said that everyone is wondering who she will choose as a partner, and many want to take this place, but why does he not propose his candidacy? Clyde said he shouldn't be in that place. Stella was indignant and asked that she would be better off with someone else. The Duke apologized. Jason Evanders was right. He is mold that spoils everything. His attempts ruined her happiness. All he can do is protect her and the foster family they're estranged from. From afar, Clyde cried. He is just a miserable obstacle in Stella's life. Stella looked out the window and thought, it's Monday again. After that, Clyde never came to see her, and she was busy preparing for her debut, so she didn't have time to visit him. The maid was looking for the lady. Stella said she needed to get something and asked if she had fulfilled her request. But she answered that they selected talented children. She thanked and ordered them to sit away from the aristocrats. The maid thought the fastest way to find out something about the ball is to ask the Empress, but she always finds the answers herself. Princess, the Emperor is in the hall. Another maid shouted. The Emperor shouted that there were only chandeliers, and even commoners would have more luxurious furnishings. This hall should be decorated as it was at his grandfather's, and even better. These should not be just chandeliers, but creeper people hanging directly from the ceiling. Michelle turned to him, and he said that the stairs also needed to be replaced. They could not walk where the dirty feet of aristocrats had stepped. Father asked if Karen came to discuss with him the decoration of the palace. Today is the debut and coronation of her only younger sister. The princess asked to leave them alone to talk. Let it be with those chandeliers, but the stairs will definitely have to be gilded. The royal treasury is completely empty, said the princess. Father asked to repeat, and she did it. The emperor grabbed his daughter by the hands. How come there is no money? Why did she steal the funds given by the Evandors? Father, I'm in pain, said Karen. Michelle ordered to stop because this is their daughter. It's her child. Every word she says is a lie. He had already told her to know her place, but she secretly sent assassins to Stella's family. Did she think he didn't know anything? This is not a killer. She would never do that. Congratulations to the second princess of the empire, Stella Idolante. Her debut will not take place today. Stella approached them and asked what they were doing in an unprepared throne room. The father turned to her and said that he was very glad to see her and added that he had come here to help her. The lady said that she did not ask for help. He got so angry that he squeezed her hands so hard that she gasped in pain. He quickly apologized and let her go. The lady said that they had already drafted a new budget without even asking her. The father said that it was right. He did everything himself, especially for her. Stella said he was just looking for a way to raise his profile. He replied that she is the princess of the state. The emperor's authority is her authority. The lady said that she had heard that the royal coffers were empty. Father said that if you add a little, Stella said she had no money for their games. She will make her debut herself. Karen said she was completely out of her mind because a princess shouldn't be planning a ball. The girl said that her father said the same thing. The sister denied that she was the one who proved him, and that's why he got angry. Karen said that if she wanted to please the aristocrats, she should behave at least a little more decently. And even if she planned the ball, all the responsibility would fall on her mother. Stella said she would make everything perfect. Karen asked if she had gathered and destroyed the reputation of the royal family. Stella is still debating whether to add gilding. The sister said that such a poor ceremony suited her. The sister asked how she was supposed to know what it was like to be loved, what it was like to be the only hope of her parents. She had never felt like that. Stella asked if she herself knew about it because she had never been her parents' only hope either. What? The sister was indignant and waved her hand, and she grabbed her. Let go. Karen screamed like that. The lady already said not to try. Her sister was in tears, even after her father told her, and she still came to her for her mother's sake. So who among them has never received love? She is very sorry for her sister. Shut up, she screamed. Stella tried on a mint-colored dress and asked what was going on with Jean. He replied that they would call it the artist's agony. It is an unbearable feeling when free art begins to argue with social orders. The girl thanked him and said that she thought it was the best dress for a debut. He replied that there is nothing better than a compliment of a new creation. However, maybe not everyone will like it. The lady took a cup of tea and said that, as she said before, she wants to become the debutante. She believed in herself and no rules bother her. Jen wondered if he could do it. It seems that his eyes only shine more. He left Stella, thought that finally all the preparatory moments were almost over. The maid came in and said that Evandors had arrived. Flowers, jewelry, dresses, tickets to the opera. What this time? The lady asked to convey that she would not accept anything. The maid said that the Viscount had not sent anything today. Stella was surprised by this. They sat at the table and drank tea. Stella asked him if he had finally realized that his gifts were useless. Jay replied that of course not, and he could not come to the princess empty-handed. That tea was brought from the overseas kingdom of Cagliaros. It is grown in small quantities, and because of that, not everyone can buy it. The aroma is simply incredible. Stella said that it would be better to come empty-handed. She would at least laugh. Jay noticed that the lady was so busy getting ready that she couldn't even spare time for a cup of tea. He opened the letter on the table. The girl asked what it was. Map of South Sutherland, his real gift. Where are the diamond mines? Mr. asked. Stella poked her finger at the map, and Jay denied that he didn't, and took her hand in his and began to run the paper together. From this ridge to the plain itself, everything belongs to him. Stella brushed him off and asked if it was all diarrhea. Jay confirmed it. The maps were drawn 20 years ago. All these lands were a great wasteland before they fell into the hands of the Evandors. Now it is one of the great cities of Sutherland, said the lady. In the very center is a giant mine with an inexhaustible supply of diamonds. The entire settlement lives on this account. All this exists thanks to his business and for his sake. Stella thought that he imagined himself as God and looked down on everything, but his words made sense. These lands had made such progress in 20 years only because of his surname. Jay said that she was interested in his gift this time. The gentleman asked if she had never seen the diamond mines live. Jay suggested that she go there together after the debut. Did he just ask her to walk the mines? She thought. Stella said she would decide with whom to look at her mines, but stood up and added that she had a lot to do. Have you already chosen a partner for your debut? He asked, and the lady said that she was proud of her choice. and chose the best. Good answer, then he goes. In the end, she will still come to him. Stella was lying in her bed when suddenly the stars called her. She went to the window and opened it. They said her family is making a wish. Her relatives asked that Ethel be happy and loved. The stars said that they wish her happiness. The stars said at the end that tomorrow at her debut, she will shine more than everyone else. Stella remembered how everyone said that she should follow the principles of princesses. She is not interested in all these rules. She is not a popular star princess. She was dumped, and now she is free. The empire has never been her home and never will be. It is unlikely that her debut will be successful, but he will definitely be the way she wants him to be, and he will definitely become a star, not a shining one, the most special one. True, the girl will do it. But to stay, Stella will leave this place without hesitation. Clyde practiced with a sword. Peter shouted that and asked what he was doing. This is her debut. It happens once in a lifetime. Is he going to miss it? This is Princess Stella Idolante, people's favorite and a beautiful girl. After all, she is his bride. Clyde was silent and stuck him in the ground. And what should be the reason for his presence there? Mr. asked. What? Peter asked. His presence will not help the princess. If a pitiful monster stands next to a wonderful lady, then nothing good will come of it. The master ordered him to go so as not to disturb. Peter said that every fool has a mind. For example, the same Jason Evanders, who pretends to be on the side of the princess, but secretly passes on information about her adoptive family. He is sure that a large percentage of those who came to the banquet are there only for their useful purposes, which are related to the princess. Peter said he wouldn't force him anymore. Clyde turned and walked away. The assistant asked where he was going and added that he must be at the debut, and he had already prepared his tailcoat. The maids dressed Karen for the debut and said she looked beautiful, and said it was probably the most beautiful and expensive dress in the entire empire. Another maid came up to her and whispered something in her ear. The lady was surprised and replied that she had said that it was a dress by Jean Bazille. The maid said they just looked alike. She lived outside the palace for a long time. Probably she is unfamiliar with the order of high society. Karen said that as her older sister, she should watch over her. She is worried about what the aristocrats think about her. The maid said that it was time for her to go to the throne room. The lady said that she could not be late for the debut of her youngest. The maid thought that every person at least once envied their sister, but Her Majesty did not do this, and she was also very worried about her. Their princess is definitely an angel. Karen thought that God had finally heard her prayers. The emperor reprimanded his wife for placing flowers in her hall. They tarnished the honor of the royal family. Prince Joseph asked his sister if she knew who was accompanying Stella today, but she answered that no. The emperor was outraged that even Karen did not know this. He hopes that it will not be a monster duke. The mother turned to her son and said that she and Stella always went out as a couple, and she thought that he would be a partner. Dvoretsky asked for the guests' attention. He said that the second princess of the Belwitz Empire, the main character of today's event, is Stella Idolante. Everyone held their breath. She started to leave. Stella came out in an elaborate black dress with a circular pattern, a blue ribbon hanging from her shoulder to her waist. She thanked everyone who paid attention to her debut. Today's banquet was prepared by herself from beginning to end. Others whispered that she really went out alone and without a partner. She also presents herself without him. By the way, is her dress a little weird? Stella said that this day will be remembered with good memories. Therefore, let's raise our glasses to the prosperity of the empire. The lady herself was sitting at the table. The guests whispered, did she really not know that she was not allowed to speak until the escort introduced her? The prince thought that she should stop resisting and find a partner. Karen said that her sister Stella lived outside the palace for a long time, and that is why she does not have enough aristocratic manners. The emperor said that how dare she disgrace the honor of the royal family. The first princess said that she was sure everyone would soon get used to it. As her older sister, she sees the best in her. Don't cry, said one of the guests, and handed her a handkerchief. "You are so kind. She has a royal aura," they said. Stella boasted that she could handle everything herself. And where is she now? Her efforts are in vain. Suddenly, someone shouted that someone was coming towards Princess Stella. The woman approached the lady and apologized for bothering her, but asked to be allowed to introduce herself. It was Angelica Lease. Stella was thinking about Clyde before that, because she didn't think he wouldn't come at all, but she thought she was at least a little valuable to him. Why does he push her away so violently? Will she never see him again? She became scared and sad because of this. The mind was drowning in sheer fear. Stella sat with Lisa and apologized for approaching her like that, which she knew was a severe violation of the rules, and she really wanted to meet Her Majesty. The lady thought she was Jean Bazile's muse, and probably the heiress of the Rizet family. Stella has heard that many people want her father's inheritance. She very rarely appears at such crowded events. The lady asked her to raise her head and said that she was the bravest of all the guests at the banquet. Lise thought that the lady herself was what she imagined her to be. The lady said that she was very grateful for her words and added that she was interested in looking at Jean's dress, which he called the best creation in his life. "It suits you very well," she said. "Really, it does not fit the standards of beauty at all, and especially for such events." Angelica said that just because a dress is different from others, it does not mean that it is bad. Stella asked if the other guests were of the same opinion, because she had gone against the rules they so strongly defended. Angelica denied that someone created these standards. The lady was surprised by her answer. Whatever this curiosity may be today, all attention is focused on only one person, and that is Her Majesty, said Lisa. She added that today will probably be the time when she will rewrite history and be the cause of great changes. "My God, Angelica, I am so glad to see you." The lady washed Liza's back, then turned around and greeted her. The lady asked if she had just talked to Princess Stella, and she confirmed it. The woman was indignant because no one had introduced her yet. The second lady said that the girl rarely attends such events and does not know it. "It's a pity they said they should have warned her earlier." Angelica pinched her dress and said that she was familiar with the representatives of etiquette and did not break the law, but simply did not follow the standards. The princess was all the more pleased with their conversation, so she was pleased with herself. She added and left them. The lady said what had become of her, because while the count was alive, Lisa had been so sweet and obedient. The second girl said that she was right. What? The other was indignant. If Angelica spoke to the princess, maybe it's worth coming up to say hello to her. The guests asked each other. Frankly, they wanted to take a closer look at her dress. Where did she order it from? Certainly not from Elvion, but from Basil. Her appearance is mesmerizing. Someone else is going to see the princess. It was Jason Evanders, in a white suit. He approached her and said that he was very glad to meet them. Stella said that she thought he wouldn't come because of business expansion. Jay replied that there is nothing more important than her debut. Nice to hear. Guests said they looked incredible and had never seen them so close. The lady wished him a good evening. Jay stood behind her to get a glass of wine. Stella was surprised that he was so close to her. "How do you like it?" the gentleman asked, and said that this white wine is the pride of the Laurel region. He thinks that it perfectly suits her image today. Stella said that maybe enough is enough. They played enough for the public. Jay replied that the Duke would not come to the banquet today. What does he know about him? The lady snapped. Pan was indignant at this answer. Jason remembered his words about the fact that it was the princess who taught him to read, and told her that he too had a connection with him just like her. He added that the Duke had no right to hold that hand while taking it. What is he doing? Jay said he was asking her to the first dance. Stella replied that she should let her go if she did not want to be ashamed. It's a pity, but her refusal means nothing to him. He does not want to disappoint those who are waiting for such a performance. The whole hall kept their eyes on them. Stella slyly said that he proposed himself and let him not regret it later. The lady addressed the distinguished guests and formally introduced Jason Evanders as her banquet partner. They are close friends and business introduction colleagues. The whole hall gasped in surprise, and so did Jason himself. He definitely did not expect to hear this, especially from her colleagues. Are they not a couple? After all, they look so good together. The guests discussed it. Jason Evanders put a media embargo on her and the fund and waited for the best price to be paid for her. But Stella said she thought now was the best time to dispel all the rumors about them. He started, and the lady thought that she should not dance to his pipe and ordered him to smile. Otherwise, he would spoil her holiday. The girl held out her hand. 10 years ago, when a tragedy happened to the imperial family, a story appeared that everyone had heard, the story of how the princess moved her castle closer to the stars. The lady raised her hand and showed her index finger and said that then she brought a large amount of gold from heaven, thanks to which she was able to open the Stella Idolante Foundation. In this, she was helped by Jason Evanders, her only friend, who supported this idea to help the aristocrats. Wait, is this the same foundation that everyone has been talking about lately? All rumors about the hostility of the second princess to aristocrats are lies, and behind all this is Evanders, the guests said, and turned their eyes to Karen and Joseph. Stella thought, in the end, the imperial family will never know the truth. They forced her to pretend to be a maid, and then threw her out into the street altogether, considering her a pitiful shame. Lady told Evanders that it was a shame to dispel rumors about their relationship, but if they were colleagues, why not dance? Does it mean that unmarried women do not have the right to invite to a dance? She snapped and asked what he thought about this. Jason said that she, as always in her repertoire, knows how to surprise. The gentleman leaned over and held out his hand to her, inviting her to dance, and added that if she didn't mind, he would only be glad. They danced in the middle of the hall, like the main characters of a banquet. Jay said that she was overreacting because the Idolante Fund was a sensation that he himself wanted to expose. Now this news will not surprise anyone. Although, to be honest, he was a little angry, but he felt true pleasure when he watched her. Stella said she didn't know what he was leading to. Jay gripped her tighter and replied that she had benefited from the imperial family, once trying to hide her. The lady stepped on his foot. The girl snapped at this action and added that something between them was not very harmonious. She hid the fact that she lived among the common people, attracted the attention of aristocrats in a minor way, and did not reveal the identity of her adoptive parents. Moreover, she used Evanders so as not to be ashamed. Commendable. Jason said he would pretend he was just playing the role he was given. Stella replied that he had wonderful self-control and smiled slyly. The gentleman added that this situation has advantages, for example, dancing with the princess. They finished. An unknown gentleman approached the lady and asked permission to invite her to a dance because she and Evanders are only colleagues. Then he can take such a bold step. Stella was confused, but Jay came up to her and put his hand on her shoulder. Jason said that he and the lady were not done yet and suggested that she introduce the influential faces present at this banquet. What was he up to? She said. Evanders said that he was just responding to her kindness. It was much more pleasant than dancing with strange men all evening, and added that he would first introduce her to Inspector Mikhail. A short and overweight man came up to them and said that it was as if he was the last on the list. His name was Hector Salvas, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Velvet magazine. It is a great honor for him to see Princess Stella. If the main character of the evening does not mind, then Hector invites her to play billiards in order to strengthen their friendship. He loves this game. The lady replied that she would be glad, although she knew little about it, for she had spent many years among the stars. She told the guests that she would not disturb. Stella left them. Evanders caught up with her and threw a black jacket over her shoulders and explained that it was cold outside and she could catch a cold because she was wearing a light dress. The gentleman asked her to stay because it would be useful for the work. The lady dismissed it as his business. Jason countered that the lady said they were colleagues, and that's why he asked her to help. Having revealed all his cards, he still gave her help, and if the lady left now, she would remain in debt to him. Stella replied that she didn't want that, but she wasn't interested in billiards either. Maybe a special composition from the princess for her partner. She spoke and started playing the piano. with how easily she does it. He didn't even think that the lady played the piano so beautifully. Evandor's thought to himself, but this song should be played in a duet, because this song seems to be dedicated to the memories of the elder brother. The heir prince is also quite good at music, the guests whispered, and Stella thought about Clyde and how she played with him as a child. Did she make a mistake somewhere? What impressed them so much? The lady thought about this when she looked at the guests. Suddenly, Jason joined her game. The lady was indignant and asked what he was allowing himself. Evandor snaps that the princess is thinking about someone else, but this duo is just for him. They continued to play together. Hector shouted, "Attention! Attention!" He photographed them for the front page of the magazine. In the middle of the evening, he appeared at the banquet. Clyde Thornhill. He approached the butler and asked where Princess Stella was, to which he received the answer that she was in the living room. He scared the servant very much with his evil look. He came to see the debut of the princess. Perhaps in such a place, he could become a real aristocrat. But if he did not try, he would not be able to erase the bloodstains. Clyde saw how Stella was playing with Evandor's. He was filled with horror and anxiety. He could justify something that had happened before, but that was what he meant. Surely Jay really is the perfect match for her. They finally finished. The lady breathed a sigh of relief and saw the Duke in the hall. Jay said that the listeners needed an encore and that their wish should be fulfilled. "Clyde," she just said, and got up from her seat. The master grabbed her hand. She put out her hand and said angrily that the show was over and ran after the Duke. Hector approached Evandor's and asked what happened, because he was going to interview the princess. The lady looked for him with her eyes and thought, what did she think? No, it was definitely Clyde. The guests discussed how that murderer could end up among his own countrymen. Another said that he was a barbarian, and he did not have such a concept. Stella took off her shoes and ran to find him and called out his name. She found him. He was standing by the window. The lady asked where he was. "Your Majesty, congratulations on your debut," the Duke said dryly. The girl asked if he had seen her play the piano. He confirmed it and called it incredible. The princess asked why he left there then. The gentleman said that he did not want to interfere with her wonderful game, and if he had remained among the crowd, he would have interfered very much. Stella put her hand on his face and asked what was nonsense. Clyde was very surprised by this gesture. Stella said that she only thought about him during the game and missed him a lot. Clyde broke into a smile at her kind words. She took his hand and pulled him along. The gentleman denied that if he went out with her. The lady interrupted and said that she wanted to spend the evening only with him. The stars shine to give her their blessing. It becomes easier when she looks at them. Stella said this, standing next to the Duke. Clyde apologized and asked if her leg hurt. The lady said that everything is fine. The shoes are a little uncomfortable. The girl said that she went out alone today, without a partner. The Duke was surprised. Stella explained that she had no choice, because the only person she saw as him had turned her down. Clyde started to apologize, but she cut him off. Stella said that she also revealed to everyone that she and Evandor's are just business partners, and now everyone knows that there is nothing between them. She put her hand on Mr.'s face, making him even more embarrassed. Lady said she didn't want there to be any doubt in his mind about that. The Duke replied that he did not dare to allow such thoughts. Stella noticed that the music from the banquet hall was even reaching here. "Can we dance?" she asked. Clyde said that he did not know how to dance and asked to teach him. She agreed and took his hand. Stella said that it was very easy. One step here, but she could no longer feel her legs. "You have to dance while looking at each other." Her master interrupted her by going down to her feet and began to take off her shoes and apologized for his insolence. Her leg was covered in calluses. She asked what it would be like without them. Clyde asked to stand on his feet. The lady did it and asked if it was difficult for him. He pressed her tighter, wrapped his arms around her waist, and said that it was not enough. They were both embarrassed by how close they were to each other. Jay was standing on the sidelines, clearly not happy with the pair. Clyde was walking and remembering their conversation. He said that her wounds could be treated and asked her not to put on those shoes anymore so as not to complicate the situation, and said that he would bring the medicine now. On the way, Evan Dors met him and said that Duke Taranhill himself was in front of him. He did not think that he would come, and Jay overestimated him. The man has no conscience at all. Clyde replied that he can think as he wants. He is not interested in the opinion of others. Jason added that he was interested in something else, namely why the lady had returned to the palace. Clyde froze in place. Evander slyly explained that it was because of his threats to her on the order of the first princess. Until this moment she had not thought of turning back. What does attachment not do with people? She became a completely different person for the sake of those with whom she had no connection before. After these words, Clyde couldn't stand it and hit him on the pizza. 2 more men ran up to them. The 2 were holding Jason so he could keep his balance after the heavy blow and asking if he was okay. Evan Dors gave them a self-willed smile. 2 ladies ran up to Stella and asked if she had been here all the time and added that Duke Taranhill was in the hall. The lady was horrified. What, they allow themselves? Fight in the palace, Jason said, or at least asked what the master could give her. Clyde yelled at him that such a bastard who had committed such a lowly act couldn't ask questions. A low act? Asked the men behind them. Jason said that jealousy is a terrible thing and added that he got angry because he danced with the second princess. What? The Duke was indignant. Jason said that interrupting the princess's performance was not enough for him, so he also decided to have a fight here. This is not an ugly alley for him. Clyde snaps that enough of his second-rate acting is enough. What will you hit me again? Evan Dors asked. Jason shrugged and said he could forgive one of his blows, but he couldn't stand it anymore. He took his shoulder and leaned close to his ear to whisper something. Clyde took him by the collar and ordered him to shut his filthy mouth. Stella joined them and ordered them to stop. Jason said that she had come, to which she replied that he needed to treat the wound and they should go out for a minute. The lady turned to the Duke and explained that his behavior would be discussed after Evan Dors was given medical attention. At that, she declared the banquet over and wished everyone a good rest. Stella ordered the servants to warn the guests of this news, as well as a security escort for them. They said that the order would be carried out. Stella stopped for a second in front of Clyde to tell him to wait for her in the living room. Let him promise that he will do it. He made a promise to the princess. Evanders noticed that the lady had chased away all the servants and playfully asked if she wanted to treat his wounds personally. After all this, Fool Duke left a lot of them. Stella said that she played along with him anyway and asked him not to be foolish. Why did he do it? Jason asked with a smile if she meant to say that he ran himself in and that Clyde could hit a person who was just standing still. Maybe someone will believe his tales, but certainly not Stella. Jason asked if she really liked him so much that even their friend's wounds on his background didn't make any sense to her. He grabbed her hand and put it to his face and said it hurt and called her name. Stella waved her hand away and said that he had no right to call her by name. Let him know his place. Jason reminded that it was she who called him her business partner and let him not forget that she still needs him. Pan said that they still have many compatible days ahead. But what is the matter with him? Stella asked if he understood that it was just a scene in front of the guests. Jay, the imperial family, they are all disgusting to her. Did he really fall in love with her? Stella denied her own words. Such a thought was more stupid than his magazine articles. Jason was surprised and disappointed. At the same time, the lady left him. A lady approached the princess, who said that it was dangerous for her to go to the Duke alone. Maybe she should be guarded. Stella denied this and said she would go to him alone. She was asked to be careful. Stella came to him. Clyde asked her to stay put and just pronounce the verdict and accept any punishment. The lady was indignant why she could not come closer to him. Clyde explained that he was actually a monster that ruined her debut and viciously attacked the aristocrat. Stella replied that that was why she had come to hear his version. "What did you do?" the girl asked. The man replied that he said unpleasant words to him. "Which ones?" a question was received from her. Clyde said he couldn't say that. "What is that?" thought Stella. The lady asked him to raise his head and said that the Duke of Thornhill was a fine knight for her beloved sister Daisy and an incredibly kind man who had built the estate of her dreams for her childhood friend. So Stella assured her that Clyde Thornhill was no monster, and as his childhood friend, she wants to ask, "Is everything okay?" The lady put her hand on his face again. Stella was alone in the room, thinking, does he know that she hid the pain in her legs because she was afraid he would tell her to go rest, and she only pretended that she was not in pain because she did not want to let him go? In this life, many people have abandoned her, but she does not want him to do it. Sometimes she imagines, in which Clyde does not serve. Her father is not the protector of the sky, does not take part in revolutionary movements, but is simply next to her. No, this cannot be reality. Maybe Clyde would surely smile at that. For him, she is a childhood friend with whom good memories are associated. Stella remembered Jason's words, and he was right. After all, thanks to him, she would be able to protect her family. But their relationship can break down at any moment because she has nothing to hold him, no compromising material. What should she do with Evan Dors? Stella took the letter in her hands. If she lasts 6 months, the palace will reduce her duties. Then she can finally get her freedom and leave this place. This is their agreement. It all makes no sense. The lady tore the paper. It is foolish to try to protect loved ones, hoping for the affection and trust of another person. Now more than ever, she needs a power that no Evendors can handle. Power of Stella Idolante. She will become a princess who will be supported by the whole nation. Why exactly on this day, and especially Evendors? The Duke was riding in a carriage. An aide said that someone at the banquet even fainted from terror. There are so many terrible rumors about him. He can't get used to it. The monster behaved appropriately. Jason then whispered to him that let him become the emperor, and then he will get the princess in his hands. It's interesting to see her look when she sees the man who killed her father. Clyde is truly a monster and will only get worse. He is ready to do the dirtiest and darkest things to protect her. He remembered how they talked. If only she would stay by his side and give him her smile. For her sake, you can put the whole world at her feet. Stella was in the room with Jean, who said that he was very glad to see her again and had already missed her. The lady said that they had only met yesterday morning. Time drags on for so long that one night is already torture, he said. Jean added that they say her debut was simply incredible. In one night, society turned upside down. What are people saying? Stella asked. Basil said that she is the center of attention, and his dresses too. Even all these editors of Daily Velvet sent a request for the publication of his design essays. Stella was shocked. All the ladies were delighted with her dress, which is elegant, comfortable, and scandalous at the same time. Stella said that she was very happy, but it was a little unexpected because she did not think that the dress would impress everyone so much. Jean said that he was not at all surprised by this. Jean is grateful to her for the opportunity to create a fashion revolution with her, and once again thanked her bowing before the Princess Pan shuddered and asked why she was wearing shoes without heels. The girl explained that she specifically asked to remove the heel from them, and now she can walk in them calmly because they are comfortable as long as you don't walk in them. Jean said that if her image was aimed at exclusive comfort, it would hardly interest him, but she combined convenience with the elegance of aristocrats. Stella thought she just removed her heel. Mr. offered her to become the face of his clothing store. I? The girl said with surprise. Jean said that she would be able to receive absolutely limited seasonal dresses for free. And that's not all, he is ready to create an individual image for her. Stella slyly asked that if she gave him the go-ahead, would he be able to take his business to the top of the market? John hotly responded that he could do even more. El Buon is the only brand under the leadership of Evan Dors that did not become an absolute leader in this field. This topic is like a sore thumb for him. If Jean can secure the first place, then she, being his face, will receive the support of the aristocrats. This is the perfect first move against Evan Dors. Stella agreed to Jean's proposal and said that she hoped for him. Karen sat at the table with the other ladies. and told me that her little sister had entered the fashion industry and that she was very happy for her. The woman asked if she does not think that there is something between Stella and Evanders. The princess thought that the lady had arranged a tea party for the sake of this question. Black Hair countered that Stella only referred to them as business partners. Is it really so? Karen decided to slyly throw up another rumor and added that Evanders often accompanies her sister. All the ladies gasped in surprise. The lady said that he often comes to her palace, although he has a lot of business. It turns out these are not rumors, said the girls. The lady said she was surprised by that too. She thought the rumors about Evanders and Stella's relationship would help keep her in check. No less than half of the girls of social society admired Jay. They all want to win his heart. It's so romantic. The ladies spoke at the same time. No, this is not what Karen wanted. One woman said that she wondered why Evanders was alone, but it turned out that his heart was already busy. Another said that she would like to see them together more often. The lady noted that aside from the princess's debut, the imperial family had not held a single banquet since the emperor's coronation. What a shame. There's no way she'll keep her mouth shut, Karen thought to herself. It's a pity, but it's true. But if her sister has already brought money from heaven, then she thinks that they will meet more often at such events. The lady noticed that Princess Stella had said that she had brought gold, but, judging by the reports of the imperial palace's treasury, Karen interrupted her and asked if she really wanted to say that she had decided to fool everyone at the banquet. The girl vehemently denied this and did not want to say it. Karen did not think that the lady was like that. She was disappointed in Helen. The princess said that she invited a lady from high society to her place, and she herself discussed rumors from a poor magazine. The girl justified herself by not thinking about her words and apologized. "Thank you for the tea and I'll go," said the lady coldly. Karen thought, even if her father lost money due to business, but she has no right to turn up her nose in front of the princess herself. She just hates such people. Dame, she said so many stupid things in the heat of the moment. Hope it doesn't get to Stella. There is no reason to worry. Her sister cannot know everything that happens in the empire. Suddenly, her sister came up to her and asked what she hid the treasure in heaven. They were sitting at the table. Karen was very nervous and realized that her sister already knew everything. Her ears are girls. Stella said that this is a very convenient position to blame all the sins of the father on the sister who will not answer. The princess justified herself by the fact that the girl had slandered the imperial family. She could not do otherwise. Stella said she should just apologize. Stella said that she arranges announcements, statements, social evenings, and Karen turns it into incomprehensible and inappropriate rumors. The sister denied that it was true. He accompanies her to balls. They conduct joint business, he is noticed in the palace. The lady said that she does not even try to hide the fact that she is being followed by someone. But what happened is over. Stella does not cling to it because she had no choice. If it is easier for her to sell her own sister than to simply protect the honor of the imperial family, Stella wants to get some information and then forgive her. A vulnerable spot, she said slyly. Karen said she had no idea who she was talking about. Stella replied, with a smile that she knows and understands very well. El Buon store chief editor, Michel Laurent, a lady in fancy clothes and glasses. Jason Evanders was sitting next to her, and he said that to maintain the interest of the brand, something new should be released. The gentleman mentioned Princess Stella, how nice it was to see a blush on her face. Although it was rather, it can't be like that. He could not believe and even imagine that she was right, and he fell in love with her. Jason told the woman that El Buone's policy of stealing the collection was not looked into. The lady bowed and quickly apologized for not thinking with her head, and very soon there will be new ideas. Jason walked into the room where he unexpectedly met his father. He asked why he should learn that his son is injured from the morning papers. Evanders replied that he could only see such important news in the Daily Velvet. Father knew that this arrogant boy would say just that. He wrapped his arms around his son and added that it was good because his mother couldn't see it now. He never thought that Jay would fight for a woman. The gentleman waved his hand away and said that he was not some teenager to do such a thing. It was such a strategic move. It seems to his father that it is time to go, and let him warn about his visits from now on. Jay's mood is far from pleasant. He needs to rest. His father hit him on the back. Jason got angry and asked if he could see that he was hurt. The gentleman interrupted him and said that when he was young, his mother was the most beautiful in the South. That has changed. But the fact that she is a big businessman has not. From time to time, he challenged her, trying to somehow gain the upper hand over her. Jay has no idea how many obstacles have moved through him. When everyone around praised and adored her, he could not hold back his hatred. This excitement of competitors completely got the better of him. He was ready to sell his soul to the devil just to finally win. Over time, he came to realize that it was not jealousy or malice, it was love. Jason was very impressed with this. Their family is enough fools. Let them spare nothing to get this woman, said the father, and made his son even more surprised. Now everything is clear. Karen said there was no vulnerability in that person. Stella said that the gold she brought from heaven. She can tell that this is not a treasure of the imperial family, but a gift from the stars. The sister asked, who does she want to call a liar? Did the lady say something wrong? Karen said that this is absolutely true. If she had known Evandor's vulnerability, she would have taken advantage of it herself. Stella got up from the table and said that there was no hope for her sister anyway, and put her hand on her shoulder and told her to keep doing what she does best. The sister was very indignant. Stella said viciously that she should not open her mouth and be quieter than the water below the grass. Karen Idolante. Stella sat at home and wrote a letter, no matter how great her power is, to protect herself from the Emperor. But Jason can destroy everything she has in one moment. Connections with mercenaries, money, power. He has absolutely everything. How can a powerless princess destroy a man who has everything? Even Karen, who has been with him for 10 years, knows nothing about him. There is no person without a weak spot. Evandor's simply skillfully hides them. Lady came to Evandor's. Long time no see, she said. They were sitting at the table. He did not think that the lady would send him a letter before the visit. Stella replied that he himself asked her to do so. Jay snarled that he would be happy if they solved the issue through letters too. Then Stella thinks she should apologize for the day she sent him alone. Jason. He got mad and asked what she said. This face, Stella asked, was he so surprised by his own name? She came to apologize and inquire about his well-being. Jason replied that the deal was a deal. He could influence her hired killers. Stella said that it's just an apology. Since that day, no one is going to check the contract. He was wounded, and she chased him away. You can't do that. She worried about him. The man was just silent. Stella asked what she should do to make him believe. Marry me, said Jason. What? The lady did not understand and said that if he can joke, then everything is fine with him. Jay said it was so much like a joke. Stella asked if he really fell in love with her. The gentleman replied, with a smile, that of course not. Stella laughed and said that none of them were serious, so they were flowers. The gentleman asked if all this was bullying. After all, she just said that she was worried about him. Jason added that she had gotten a lot more sassy in the time they hadn't seen each other. Stella said with a smile that she hoped for his understanding and brought him a gift, he asked. Stella confirmed this and added that it was so expensive that the master would not be able to afford it, and put the secret box on the table and asked him to open it quickly. Jay said that this could not be the case. The man opened it. Stella was outraged by the fact that it was written on his face that she was just bragging about some kind of quill pen. Jason did not understand and remained silent. The lady ordered him to write. What is she about? He asked. Stella Idolante declares that the abrogated crown will be restored. What did you say? He said with surprise. The lady explained that no matter how much time passed, she would not leave this place, so she came to pretend that they were close. She asked if he remembered what he said to her. after revealing information about her family to the Empress. "All the same between us, there is only business. There is no need to attribute emotions here. Just accept my offer." Stella held out her hand to him. Stella said she was taking his words back to him, so let him just accept her gift. Jason agreed with Her Majesty, and they shook hands. This became their reconciliation, which is beneficial for both parties. A coronation ceremony held exclusively for the emperor. The reason why the princess was allowed to see her was clear as day. Everyone watched as she knelt before him, accepting the crown from his hands. The ceremony had a political significance. A lady with great power, and above her is the emperor himself. He put a crown on her and said that he was proud to announce his daughter Stella Idolante as the princess of the Bellwitz Empire. And this event for her farewell to life as Ethel. She will not hide anymore. Stella will rise so high that no one will even think of addressing her without the highest respect. The princess and the prince sat in an open carriage so that the people could see her. "They are going," they shouted. Joseph was smiling and waving at them. People shouted pleasant words to him. Stella thought he was acting like it was his coronation. Of course, wherever her brother goes, he will be the main character everywhere. Joseph turned to her and asked her to wave, because today was her day. She thought about it. The prince said that they were waiting for it. She raised her hand and did as he asked. Everyone screamed. The prince was nervous, but told his sister that they were glad to see her. "Star of the Empire, Princess Stella, hooray!" People shouted at her. Suddenly, in the crowd, she saw her adopted family who were so happy to see her. The lady was very frightened and turned away from them. She sat with her head down. My brother asked if everything was fine. "You're probably worried. It's the first time she's had the same. Of course, the ability to introduce society is not given to everyone," he said. His face changed dramatically and became like his father's. Stella was walking into the room with a tray. The maids discussed the fact that after such a difficult day, she went to her sick sister. She even took medicine with her. This sisterly friendship is so beautiful. Stella placed the tray on the table. Karen was lying in bed, covered with a blanket. The lady said that she was worried because everything was fine at the coronation. And then she suddenly lost consciousness. She said that let her take medicinal tea. It should warm her. "It's a pity that there is no cure for simulations," she said, and started pouring tea. Suddenly, Karen got up from the bed and started shouting that she had not lied to her father. "What kind of fool? I want to be useful to the emperor, and therefore I will conduct my coronation. How dare she deceive the entire kingdom for a moment of glory if she disappears in 6 months?" Stella purposely spilled a cup of tea on herself. She asked how she thinks that if she really planned to disappear, she would have arranged a coronation. Karen asked what she was talking about, because at that time, her sister interrupted her and said that she burned that contract. "Don't you dare deceive her. Stella Idolante must return to her commoners." "Is she lying?" Karen asked, and grabbed her hand and said that her family was waiting for her very much. Stella waved her hand away and confidently said that she would occupy the highest position in the entire empire. Karen was horrified by her words. Mary tried to open the heavy and large chest. A man approached her and asked her to calm down. She denied that Ethel had seen them, but pretended that they were strangers. He replied that he had seen it, but it was enough for him to know that she was fine. After that day, the woman checked the mail every day, but there was no news from her. If she knew how they cared for her, if she considered them family, would Ethel have done this? The man said that she probably did not want to involve them in her affairs, because she thought that they might suffer. I know, Mary answered desperately. Therefore, they should disappear from her eyes, so as not to interfere, and this is probably the only gift she can give her, as a mother. One more time. Mary wants to see her Ethel. "Who are you?" A scream was heard from another room. The man asked what happened. The red-headed man replied that a suspicious girl used to walk here near the tavern, and that's why he brought her here. It was Stella in a black cloak with a hood. He said that the children were throwing garbage, and he was just passing by and met her. "Who are you?" the man asked, but she remained silent. The guard said that she didn't say a word to him. He would deal with her himself. "Wait," said Mary, and took off the girl's hood to see her face. "She was scared to death, Ethel," said the woman. The guard thought it was the princess who had hired him. He knelt down and apologized for being so rude to her. Stella asked him to continue in the same spirit to protect her family and this place. He agreed. Parents were crying. "Mother, Pope." "It's me," said the girl. She told the whole truth to her parents, who she was, why she was left alone, and why she had to return. Stella apologized and said that if they didn't want to see her again, then, "All is well," my child said. "Mary, they are a family. The main thing for them is that she is in order." Mom hugged her and said that she must be hard and lonely now. "You are such a good man to last so long in this cold palace." My daughter said. Mary Stella couldn't resist and burst into tears at such warm words of her mother. By the way, why did their child lose so much weight? "We need to cook something delicious for her." Mary brought her a plate of meat and potatoes and said that she did not know if she would like it after the delicacies of the aristocrats. Stella said that you shouldn't say that because she really missed this food. If she is sad again, let her immediately run to them and be sure to bring that man with her. Stella was embarrassed and asked what they were about. Mary said that they definitely have a candy season, but when the date becomes known, then let her say. Stella replied that everything between them is not so serious. The man said that we will see more. They went to Daisy's room. She was sleeping and had already seen her 10th dream. It would be very nice to say hello to her, but if she sees her sister, she will cry and won't let go. Stella said she will definitely come again soon. Clyde and his assistant were walking around the city and saw a little boy who asked to help him with food because his sister was sick at home. The Duke knelt down and gave him a handful of monies and told him for medicine and food and to take care of her. The boy happily thanked him. Clyde gave him another gold coin and said that it was his personal, but he should not waste it. He would rather go eat. The boy smiled and thanked the master. Peter said that his master kept forgetting that the Thornhill family did not do charity, and the finances certainly did not allow it. Clyde sped up and said that if he was still going to carry such a fool, then let him not follow him. "Wait," he shouted. They went to a flower shop. Peter asked if he wanted to send her flowers. He couldn't, because the dust hadn't settled yet, because it would damage his reputation. Clyde replied that he wasn't risking anything. Then the seller asked what he was interested in. He said he wanted a basket of flowers as a present. Peter said that would put her in an awkward position. "No, sell me all the flowers." "Here," said Clyde. Jason sat in his room and wrote a letter with a pen that the lady had given him. He fell asleep. Someone put a hand on his forehead. He began to wake up little by little and thought, "Is it Stella? Did you go into his office so brazenly?" But it was his assistant and said that there was no temperature. Jason waved his hand away and yelled, "Why did he just wake him up?" The assistant replied that the gentleman looked very tired. He looked at his watch and said that he had just wasted time. Ordered to contact the doctor. He needs other medicines. The assistant apologized and said that these drugs do not have drowsiness as a side effect. It is just tiredness. Jason asked if anyone had come. What? He did not understand and said that no one came. Good, said, "Mr." The assistant left. Jason put the pen to his lips and thought that she could come here without warning. Stella sat in her room and thought, many people are interested in her foundation now. She remembered how the guests at the banquet talked about it. At the debut dinner, they had an eloquent reaction. Its main goal is to win the trust of the people and aristocrats. The first button on the shirt of her success was the coronation and her debut. The second will be interrupted. Her thoughts. Someone came to her and said that the servant of the Even Doors family wanted to meet her. Jason Evanders sent her a small gift, saying it was in return for her kindness. It was a letter, and Stella began to read it. The young man wanted to give you something that no amount of money